All right, and we're live. Hey, everybody. We're here to talk about X-Men 97. So I invited pretty much everybody I knew that's seen it so we can do a little deep dive, talk about what we liked, didn't like, and get an overall retrospective of the show. So we're going to I figured for introductions, we'll go around the horn and see everybody liked most about their show or their favorite moments so far. And we'll start down at the bottom with Selena, because she looks prepared.
I'm dealing with the dogs. Move on.
All right, Diesel. You did finally watch the show after we pretty much bullied you into it.
Yeah.
Now we'll get into negatives first, but
there's a whole
later
lot
on.
There's a lot of stuff, and when we get into it, man, because I had several like kind of out of phase graphic novels and omnibuses of the X-Men. Like I had from John Says X-Men 100, and I had like the first 20 or 30 issues after that. And I had a black and white omnibus of all that. So that was like when Wolverine first started. Then I had something somewhere like around Phoenix and Dark Phoenix, parts of those two. And then I had afterwards, and we'll have to go over this because my memory of Madeline Pryor was completely different.
Yeah,
it's how the show, and you probably would know that better than me, but I just remember
I prefer the show's version a lot more.
I just remember like, there was a lot going on there, but like
there's a lot more to that.
Are we going
this one kind of gave Cyclops a little bit of an out too. He's not such a fucking dick as he was in the comic books.
Oh man, look, Gambit was a fucking boss, dude.
So Gambit was your favorite part of the show?
No, I don't know, man. He was. I don't know. I'll tell you one of the favorite. Are we going into spoilers?
Yeah, this is okay.
Yeah,
so
this is
disclaimer.
A spoiler
if you're
show,
watching
yeah,
this,
surely.
This is absolutely spoil ridden. We're gonna go over everything that happened. This is not just a spoiler free review, and by any means. So,
all right. You want me to give me my favorite part?
Yeah, favorite part.
Magneto ripped the adamantium out of Wolverine, man. Like when he fucking made feral Wolverine, like he made him go feral in the comics.
If
shit.
if we get that,
fucking hardcore, dude. Holy shit,
red paint.
Oh,
I kind of hope they don't do that, but we'll see. All right, JackTarLad, what was your favorite part of the show, man, so far?
Well, first of all, hello everyone. And secondly, I think we might have had a few crossed wires, mate. I think I might have boned up on the wrong show. I thought you said that we were going to be watching Discovery Channel's Axemen. So I've been watching that.
Me too, freaking dork.
I'm joking, of course. No, my favourite part was where they didn't shove any intersectionality in my face, and what they did was that, like, they put lots of explosions and fighting scenes on my TV screen, and I really liked the part where I could sit down with my daughter and watch it along with her.
Actually, yeah. You don't even have to be specific there. That was, and what they did do with certain characters, and we're going to get into that, they did well, so it wasn't even a problem.
Noticeable.
If it were done in the 90s, no one would have gave a shit.
And it was, it was like, in fact, I guess some people read a little bit more into it than I did, and I'm just like, well, wait, it's not my turn anymore. I need to shut up.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I just wanted to keep it nice and short and sweet because we're going to get into it, obviously, as we.
Oh yeah, we're going to definitely get into it.
Get over the intros.
So, Jess, you completed the show. What was your favorite part? And say hi to everybody.
Hi, everybody. Hello. I loved all the member berries, right? So I was considering rewatching the original from the 90s, but I ended up just going off of my memory, and I'm glad I did that just because I didn't want to get too nitpicky about it. So I was just going off of like the feels and stuff, and going into it, and I had my hesitations about going into it because people were already criticizing it. I went into it open-minded, and even with a little bit of bias from what I had heard other people saying as far as like the animation style, what they did to Rogue or whatever, and it's like I didn't feel that at all. And so I appreciated that it really seemed to, from memory, really seemed to try to tie into what I remembered as a 9, 10, 11-year-old and it just kind of like sucked me back into it. I did not like what they did to my Gambit, but I did love how ragey Rogue got. I love her vengeance and her whole thing. That was pretty awesome. So I'm a fan.
And there's a lot there to unpack because a lot of people don't remember or didn't know to begin with that Rogue was a villain starting out.
Yep.
Not a hero.
That's because she stole Ms. Marvel's powers and put her in a coma. That's the actual Carol Danvers, and she was in a coma in a hospital.
Can we have that happen on screen in live action?
Or we can never have Carol Danvers back. That'd be even better.
Oh yeah,
replace her with Rogue. And making his first appearance on the show, Gray Poupon. What's going on, man? Thanks for stopping in.
Hey. Yeah, I'm glad to be here, and I'm excited to actually talk about X-Men 97. It seems like it's not as big as it should be, which is sad. Apparently, it's getting worse numbers than What If, which is just a travesty. That really sucks. But my favorite part of it is its consistency. It really did stick the landing. And I can't think of another show, especially from Marvel, that actually made me like want to watch the next episode. With this one, every single one got me hooked. So consistency, man. Bo DeMayo, they need to bring that dude back.
They do need to bring him back. And that's one thing I'd like to touch on real quick. That was one of the best season finales I've seen of any show. Live action. It just happened to be a cartoon.
You know what?
That was on par with some of the Game of Thrones finales when that was still good.
I have a theory about the Bo DeMayo thing.
We'll get into it.
And I'm sticking to it, man.
Darnell, what's up, dude?
Oh, nothing, not much. Diesel, Feral Wolverine.
Yeah,
bud. I'm waiting for that next season too. Matt Gambit, seeing my boy go down, bro. I still get like, it still feels like I'm hitting the chest. I fucking cried in that episode. I absolutely cried when Rogue said, "I can't do you anymore," dude.
That was one of the best episodes of any show I've ever seen.
Dude, that's
made me angry also because Cajuns
so
get
hard.
like portrayed stupidly in entertainment. He was the first one that wasn't like a stupid idiot redneck.
Yeah,
and they killed him off. But I know he's gonna be death, so I know he's coming back.
Most likely.
I mean,
they
can
already
rock a crop
hinted
top
at
and a mullet any day.
Absolutely.
A hot pink crop top, like no less.
Yeah, I know, right? He looked like he had just gone to like a I don't know, like a
rat concert.
Yeah, a rat concert or like a Twisted Sister.
High class.
I think I've got that one.
Well, I know what I'm wearing this summer. I mean,
oh yeah. Now, right above,
neon's coming back. Neon colors.
Actually, I've been seeing more of that 80s, 90s style, and I don't hate it. That's a good shit to bring back. Devil made me do it. What's up, man?
Not much. My favorite moment, probably the worst, is the Gambit thing. He died, but he went out such a fucking badass, taking out that entire ship. Saying last thing, fuck you, light it up, boom. So yeah, that would probably best and worst moment of the season for me.
He's badass.
Yeah, that whole. We'll get into that episode here once we start kind of breaking them down. Drunken Emerald Arrow. I have to say that really slow, or I sound like I'm drunk every time I say it.
That's kind of partly the reason for it, I think.
Yeah.
Just to see how many people can actually get it, because I can't even say it properly myself.
Why'd you name yourself?
You get to say it properly when he's drunk.
Yeah, and I'm rarely drunk. Anyway. Well, I love the show. I mean, I didn't expect to, just with the fact of it being a Disney Marvel product, but was very surprised, very happy with it. I mean, granted, the best part was when Doc just came out of nowhere and said, "You got to come back with me." That was just, right. I got this, so that, yeah, it's, can't wait to talk about it. It's I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with season 2, though I'm fearful.
Yeah, well, here's the good thing about season 2. It's already halfway or more than halfway done. They're pretty much in just the final phases of wrapping it up. So the showrunner, Bo, I always murder his name. What is it? Bo DeMayo?
Yeah.
DeMayo.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've heard it pronounced DeMayo a lot more, but yeah, those letters.
He was heavily involved all the way through until, for whatever reason, he was let go. And now everybody that was skeptical of him, we're the ones that want him back.
Hey, I
No, bring the black gay guy back. He's great. He's
I
fine.
just want to say this. How many Disney employees have an OnlyFans page? Come on, you know a lot of them do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's not
I
why
think
he
that
was
was a
fired.
BS
Yeah.
excuse.
That's not why he's fired.
Okay,
I know.
you're dying to lay it down. So go ahead, Diesel. What?
Well, I know
what's your
why
theory
he's
there?
fired, man. He's fired because he actually made a good product and didn't put any of their messaging in it. That's exactly why it was shit can, dude.
That's
Because
so
they-
goddamn
they-
far fetched. It's probably true.
But listen,
No, that's exactly what. Look at it, man. Look at it.
Yeah.
This is a gay black dude. He's got like 2 or 3 levels of like DEI armor. So the reason they fired him is he didn't put the message in there, and he made what the fans wanted instead of doing yet another owning the chuds thing, which is all
That
they want to
happened-
do. All
this
they wanna
firing
do.
came right before the Ryan Reynolds thing, where Feige said he won't work with him anymore because he's too hard to work with, and Iger said the same thing about DeMayo. Just so happens DeMayo made a comic accurate show which people liked.
And
So
And
Diesel's
here's the
probably
thing:
right.
we're going to do a whole deep dive into Morph right after we talk about the episodes. That'll be the second subject we go with. But
my only problem with Morph is I'm like, when
had no
the
problem with
hell did he look like a corpse in the old show? He didn't. He had black hair.
not in the show. That's from the comic book. They changed him
Oh.
up during the Age of Apocalypse storyline, and they advanced his powers. That version of Morph was able to. He can actually
Mimic
replicate
powers.
other powers by that point. He's figured it all out. And when he's in his true form, he's just this kind gray
booger.
Yeah, just a kind of a blob of a featureless nothing.
Like a
Okay.
putty from
So-
Power Rangers.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
And I don't hate that design. It's
okay,
kind of
that-
based
that-
on
that-
another character, Changeling.
I should have figured
Yeah.
that was the case. But
And
yeah, man, that's
but
exactly
he still has the humor, which is like his trademark. And the other stuff we'll talk about, I don't have a problem with it, because when you do a character like that right and you develop them and they have more personality than just one,
I have
one-dimensional identity, no one cares. In fact,
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
welcome.
I have one other thing. Now that I know that, I'm cool with that part. But I have one other complaint. They didn't get the original voice actor, and he was alive, and they brought him in to do a voice on the show. I don't know why they didn't get him to do Morph.
That is weird. I didn't hear about that. I know that the original voice actress
Oh, I
from
went and looked-
Jubilee, she coached the Asian girl replacing Jubilee so that
Yeah.
an Asian can do
She
an
felt
Asian character,
Comfortable doing it.
Well, and she
because
gotta come
voice
back, too.
acting apparently matters in that way.
Oh, that's
Uh,
so stupid, man. I
here's
knew
the
that was
thing.
off. The Magneto's voice actor was dead. That
Yeah.
dude is dead.
So,
Now-
Magneto's
Cyclops.
dead. Apocalypse is dead. Cyclops is the original. Cyclops is dead. I think Mr. Sinister is dead too. But I mean, it was
Now
years ago.
the chick that does Rogue, as I was
Same-
listening to
same
it, I
chick.
knew. Did you need to say something, Jack? Oh, I thought you said something. Never mind. Anyway,
No, I
the
didn't.
chick-
Never
It's the
said a
same
word,
chick.
mate.
Oh,
Same
you
chick.
need to say something.
It's the same chick from the original show. Her
Yeah.
voice
Yeah, I
acting
know.
one of
I
the
was gonna
OGs.
say when she started talking, I never put this together before, but I'm like, she's the chick that voiced Aisha Clan in Outlaw Star, and sure enough,
Yes.
it was, man.
Yeah,
I could
she's
just
a
kinda
pretty
tell.
prominent voice actress. My only problem with her reprising the role is,
She sounded
You can-
significantly older.
yes, it sounded like some of my friends in Arkansas's grandmothers,
Yeah,
an old
Yep.
Southern
Saturday
grandma.
habits.
There's a little bit more of a lilt in the voice,
Yeah.
like a
kind of like she's been
aged-
smoking for a couple packs for the last decade or 3.
That I mean, some of the original voice actors you couldn't tell. Jean Grey sounded exactly the same. Gambit sounded the same. Wolverine does not. Now,
Wolverine does
No,
not. That
he
dude
doesn't.
sounds different, man.
He said,
sounds
well,
older.
I think he's about 80 now. So that would make
there
sense.
you go. Beast sound the same, didn't he?
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, he sounds same.
Okay.
Yeah. Now that guy, he's a both on screen and voice actor. He's been in a lot of stuff. He's a heavy set British guy, I believe. All right. So talking about the episodes starting out, I mean, I'm pretty sure everybody here will agree nobody was expecting a lot from this. We were all pretty just kind of
I was expecting the
giving it a
opposite.
shot.
Well, like
Yeah.
2 weeks
Well, yeah,
before
I
it was
went
released, the
into it-
showrunner gets kicked off. Like, how is that going to be a good show? Like, that just
Yeah,
does
I
not
went-
bode well.
And all we
I
heard
went
about
into
it
it with an open heart. I just went into it with complete sort of open mind, open heart, and I just wanted to not be cynical about it. I just wanted to give it a chance and try to even if there was a bit of intersectionality in it, I was willing to look past it, knowing that this is the sort of future of entertainment, to have that kind of intersectionality everywhere. But surely there must be a story underneath it somewhere, and so I gave it, its best first shot, and it was great. Right from the get-go, right from episode 1.
Now, I was a little more hesitant. I did go in right from the beginning. I think either the day or the day after it was released. I maybe had 1 or 2 episodes that I could watch all at once. I liked that they released it on a weekly basis, but the problem here is I do have such a deep attachment to that show. That was something that and Batman the Animated Series were 2 of the things that got me into comic books to begin with when I was, about I don't know, 12 years old, something like that. I had a few comic books here and there, but after those shows came out, I went in hard. So I really didn't want to see it get ruined, or like kind of the way a lot of the Marvel properties have gone. I think it was you, Gray. You mentioned that this show had lower ratings than What If?
Yeah, What If? Yeah, supposedly.
Disney's a dead brand, man. Nobody trusts them no more. I didn't.
I got a theory about
you guys
that.
Beating me into that, man.
I think your theory's
I
your
don't have a
theory is going to be close
theory.
to mine.
I don't have a theory, but I watched it, but I watched it on MovieBox Pro because I didn't want to give Disney the satisfaction. So
a lot of people have kind of put that theory forward, and that makes sense. To tell you the truth, I had this, so I do still have a Disney account, unfortunately. But one day, for no reason, I think it was when episode 9 came out, it just wouldn't let me log in. It kept telling me that I had to select my gender for some reason, and then it just kept putting me in a loop that whichever one I chose wasn't correct. And so anyway, I ended up watching some of it on the high seas, even though I had an account. So I got a feeling a lot of people did that, especially with that issue of it. I heard I wasn't the only one who had issues getting into their account during, I think it was episode 9. But yeah, just the press before this was kind of abysmal. The teaser trailer didn't exactly tell us what was going to happen. There was kind of a push that Morph is going to be a little bit more, non-binary was the big thing that was being told. And then the only really big news was just that Bodemeo is out of there. So I don't know. I wanted to go in open-minded, but I thought there's no shot that this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And I'm
when he said
so glad I was wrong.
Updated the show, that killed me.
Yeah.
I really thought the only reason they'd get rid of a showrunner right before a show's released is because the show is no good. That was exactly what I thought. Okay,
Well,
it's so bad that they're going to get rid of him to make kind of make everybody think, okay, well, season 1 was really bad, but at least they got rid of him, so maybe it'll get better.
You got to remember though, what's bad to them is good to us.
Aaron, why would you think that about something that came from Disney? It's so weird.
No,
it's so bizarre. You're like, they fired this guy.
Disney.
Maybe they'll bring somebody else in and it'll get better. I'm just
Diesel, he's right. It was bad to Disney because Disney, what's good to Disney is bad to us. What's good to us is bad to Disney.
Well, I knew something was up when they fired the dude. It didn't make any sense. They never pointed to anything, man. It was obviously the dude wasn't a MAGA Trumpian or something.
No, of course not.
Well,
maybe he just
devil?
some sexual harassment, or maybe he was extorting
No,
funds
they're not
or
gonna fire
misappropriating
him.
funds. Maybe something like that.
Fire him for that.
It's Disney. They're not. Yeah, they're not going to fire him for that.
Wait,
I wouldn't agree that
Everybody's gropey feely there in the land of mouse.
I wouldn't agree that
You
they
see,
would
it
fire.
turns out after all of that, he was too wholesome to work for
There
the
you
Disney
go.
Corporation.
He didn't put the message into this into this show.
Not enough.
That's why it was. That's why it was.
They
fired.
wouldn't agree. They wouldn't have fired
Imagine
him.
that being too wholesome to work for the Disney Corporation where dreams are made.
Right.
They wouldn't have
Hey,
fired him.
Devil,
if
let's-
the show was
He's
bad,
definitely too wholesome.
because
What?
they wouldn't have fired him if the show was bad. Because the fact is, they could use him as armor against criticism. Gay
That's right.
black man is the direct producer or whatever. How can you hate this? It must be because you're
They
racist.
don't
They would rather
care.
have that. So
They don't.
Yeah, all they had to do is just do the normal fan blaming. So
Yeah,
none
but
of
they
it
don't-
makes any
they
sense.
hated
They
the
don't care. See, exactly. That's why I'm saying they don't care if
It's
it's
the
bad.
white man's.
Because all they do is make garbage. The fact that this wasn't garbage is why you got fired, because you're supposed to make stuff to piss off that fans. You're supposed to change everybody in this show into something that's completely unrecognizable and pisses off of fans of the original series. That's what you're supposed to do, and you didn't do it. You're
Subvert our
fired.
expectations.
Though they
And
do.
I
They
have let me tell you something. I have zero hope for next season.
You know that they
I
Disney knew this was actually going to be a good product because they didn't decide to change it to. They kept it as a weekly release. If it
Yeah.
was going to be garbage, they would have dumped it all in one night.
yeah.
Yeah, it's no Echo.
Yep.
Echo was definitely a show.
I gotta be honest with you. I kind of share both Iron and Diesel's perspective on this. Like, Diesel's not holding out hope, but yet Iron is, and I can see where both of them are coming from because, you know, you got rid of the showrunner that was good, but at the same time, Iron's thinking to himself, well, he was involved in it right up until the very end of like the production of season 2. So what I'm thinking is that maybe it's going to be another Mando sort of situation where season 1 was really good, season 2 is going to be a bit meh, and then season 3 is going to be a bit shit, completely shit. In fact,
And-
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
probably.
hope not.
They're gonna change. They're gonna bring somebody in there that's gonna do all the stuff that what's his name didn't do.
Now,
I mean, Wolverine, Gared Trans, or
we
fucking
will
something.
we'll see, because while the viewership numbers aren't up, I can already tell you what is up, and that's merchandise. The sales
Yeah.
for
I was gonna say
merchandise.
something else, but okay.
I can't find a
Get your mind out of the gutter.
you,
You.
Oh
your
my.
dirty mind.
Oh my.
Oh my.
Panel full of boys. And one of the girls has to say it. Never
Oh,
mind.
Captain.
Yeah, because if we say it, then we turn. Then apparently we're all perverts. But if
You
a woman
are.
says it,
Yeah.
I
We,
am.
yeah, we are perverts. There's no doubt about it. Well, I am at least, anyway.
Oh shit! Wrong button. I was looking for the oh my button. Not that that's racist button. But
Tilt
speaking
your
of racist,
fucking
Red
laugh at.
Strider.
Hey,
You know, suddenly being a Nick Rekieta cosplayer doesn't feel as good these days.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know.
Oh, I just
Let's
thought
not
of
get
like-
into it.
Yeah.
I look
We'll
amazing
talk
with
about
it
that. Well, I want to keep this lighthearted and fun.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
X-Men.
We're talking about X-Men.
And
No.
and the pros and cons of OnlyFans.
Buzz.
Yeah.
Right. So
Link
family friendly.
yours down below. Put your link in the chat. Come on, everybody.
Yeah, go over and support Bo DeMaio at his.
Oh, hey, that
hold on.
ties into the X-Men thing.
Is that Bo DeMaio right there?
That is.
next to
He's
your-
my new
Yep.
favorite OnlyFans creator. You know, I think we need justice for Bo. They got to bring him back for season 2.
what are you gonna do with that staff, Grey Poupon?
Don't worry about it.
Oh shit!
Hey, Iron.
Wrong button.
Oh God!
Wrong button.
killed the stream.
Now, I would like to, once we know the exact details of why he was let go, making sure it wasn't something egregious that we can't, get behind, for lack of a better word. I wouldn't mind seeing another petition go out to try and get the guy back.
He
Well,
wouldn't
wouldn't
get
that just-
involved. He wasn't a team player, you see. He wouldn't get involved in the cocaine-fueled sex parties they were throwing after
Right.
production.
That would light their
Which is
asses on
ironic.
fire if we did that. If you actually had a campaign to get a black gay man back from the what they conceive as the racist,
The enemy.
can you imagine they would flip their lids.
Yeah, you know what? That you've convinced me, Devil. I'm gonna start it.
Sure, why not?
So as long as we find out that he wasn't caught doing just something, but I mean, again, you're right. This is Hollywood. It's Disney.
Not there.
That's
Disney,
like
Disney's
that's the
full
swamp of
a
the
fucking bunch of demons, man. They
Like,
go
what-
fire that dude.
Like, what did you have to do to get
What's wrong with
Disney
demons?
to fire you?
And he wrote a good show and didn't put the message in it and didn't destroy
I
all
really
the
think that's it.
characters.
It was creative
Oh, yeah.
conflict. They wanted more of that. He said, "No, I'm gonna stick to the source material, make it true to the show." And going into episode 1, I was already hooked because it did just feel like I had just watched the season finale, which I had just watched, or the series finale. I just watched the whole season a few years earlier, or the whole original series, and it was just like, bam! It was just back on with maybe little bit different animation and some of the voices changed, but other than that, took me right back into it.
You know
I think
what's
it was a little bit
insane about this whole
deeper.
situation
Oh, here we
is,
go.
is he's gone, but each week he was tweeting something about the show in a
Yeah.
positive manner.
Yeah.
Like he was
It was
supporting the
a
show.
passion
after
project.
his
Because
career.
he's proud of it. He did
Proud
a
of
good
it,
job.
I get
And
it,
it
but
should
that's,
be.
I get it, but that's
Yeah.
strange, isn't it? When a showrunner or someone major gets fired from
No.
the show, they from what I remember, well,
Because
the few
he
things I've
stood
seen,
his guns, man,
No,
and made
I
something
get
he was
it, but
proud
like-
of.
but in this day and age, when they're fired, they'll either shit on it or just act like it never happened. This
Yeah,
dude
I
is
think you're
Well,
right.
he
I think
still
it's rare.
believed in it. That's the thing, isn't it?
Yeah.
No, I'm,
Yeah, and he
I'm,
still
I'm
believes in
liking
season
it.
2 as well.
I'm liking
he
it.
wrote season 2, so hopefully they don't change that. But
They'll change it.
Let's
He-
also be clear. Victoria Alonso is also one of the big time executive producers on this, so maybe
gone,
maybe they butt heads, even though she's been gone for I don't know for 2 years now.
Buttheads.
Yeah.
Butt heads.
Now, yeah, you're right. She's been gone so long. I can't see how that would be any kind of an issue. But
But did
going
he
back
do
to
this-
the
so.
interviews that he gave, yeah, he did a lot of the, talking points normal as a insert identity qualificator here, and here, which he did do. He did also mention how he read the comics, he loved the show, and everything else, and that shows it really shines through in every episode. It wasn't just faithful to the old show, but to a lot of the comic books. They did rush a lot of storylines and cram a bunch of shit together, but that's what the original series did too.
And I said this last night with MSK that even though they did that, these storylines, the way they surgically cut these things out of the storylines, they can pull more and from these same storylines and extend what they have. They just didn't walk in there and just like slice up, pull shit. They actually like surgically cut shit out,
Yeah, they made it fit
Yeah.
and they did it well.
and they can
Yeah,
pull more.
You know what? You know what else? That lets me know, man, that they like fired him because of that, man. Do you see how they intentionally tried to destroy the show with their marketing, with their bullshit marketing, releasing that crap,
What?
and trying to get people who would be actual fans of it turned off? While by saying this stuff like more cringe, you're a chun, I'm homophobe, but chun, but
Was that
you don't
marketing,
like it, man.
Now that's the thing.
What-
a lot
was
of it
there
was
any
not
marketing? I don't really
official
remember.
marketing. They were it was like
There was the one
independent
teaser one
fan groups.
That was yeah. There was the one teaser that was like the commercial, the TV on with like the box next to it, but it really didn't show much. It was just that's the only real advertising I
They didn't
remember.
support this at all.
So strange.
They gave
Now-
Magneto's face looked like an aging, like an old woman, old lesbian, like in this cartoon. The way they animated him, man. That's
I
what I
was fine
thought.
with it.
I will admit the
didn't
lips
think
on a lot
so.
of these characters.
The
are a
lips
lot
were
of- are
creepy,
kinda
man.
odd.
I was like,
That's some of the male
they
characters are like-
changed his. They should have looked at the old model a little bit better. He didn't quite have that like.
I don't know. It wasn't Aeon Flux
Old-
lips. I was happy.
Yeah, no kid. Well, he did. He looked like
No.
he looked like so many people I know that've been chain smoking since they were 4.
No.
Like
That
Rose voice.
scene where them pair were on the dance floor, floating above the dance floor, and they were dancing all sensually, and they started kissing. That creeped me out. That
So
scene
amazing.
did.
A little, the
Yeah, a
age
little
difference
bit
between
lower.
Rogue and Magneto.
But you
does
know
not-
what?
I mean,
the
it was
show-
great
older-
art. No, don't get
Yeah,
me
older
wrong. Great
look.
animation and everything, but it creeped me out a little bit.
Yeah. But you know what was dope? She
Ace of
chose
Base
she
song.
chose Gambit.
Yo,
And Gambit
Yeah.
never
The Ace
knew.
of Base
Come
song,
on!
definitely.
He never knew either. He
He
thought
never found out. He died.
he already
not
thought
knowing.
he got shit curbed. So okay, hey Strider, since you're joining in a little late, who are you and favorite moments of the show so far?
Oh, who am I? Well, I'm not Nick Ricada cosplayer anymore, but I've
Oh, no.
got a. I mainly just I'm getting my YouTube channel kind of back up. I took a hiatus for a little bit. I'm gonna start getting back into making more videos, but I'm on Twitter just stirring up shit. But my favorite moment of the show was easily this entire episode. No, the last half of this entire episode, when all of a sudden it turns into Game of Thrones, when everybody is dying horrifically, people who I have been watching from the animated series that I've actually really liked, I liked Leech. It made me really, really sad to see him vaporized the way he was. But what they did in this episode was perfection. How even some of the art, there's some really interesting animation moments that I just thought were incredibly done. And this entire storyline showing Rogue, and I don't. At first, the age difference between Rogue and Magneto kind of made me a little bit. But when she realized that Rogue has been completely starved of all human touch, of course she would jump the bones of the first guy to be able to touch her without have his life force sucked out. So I got that, and they're very similar characters in that respect. But there were some really.
And I mean, you're lying if you're thinking a built 60-year-old guy wouldn't jump at the chance to get with a 22-year-old.
I mean, he may be a Holocaust survivor, but he ain't dead.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you were a 22-year-old, even for the touch, would you be like, yeah, I'll go after that 91-year-old woman?
Hey, man.
Yeah.
Well, doesn't he also have genes that will let him survive longer? Doesn't he have longer lived?
Some of us 62-year-olds think it's creepy to go out with a 22-year-old.
Wait, how old? Wait,
but these will look like this.
I thought she was
Rogue
like
would have
20s,
been
maybe
in
30s.
her early 20s during the flashback scene. He was probably in his
50s,
40s, 50s.
70s.
Think like professor.
Now
and
that's
college
the thing,
student.
because Magneto's ability, he has an extended life. He ages, but he's gonna live longer and just kind of look old for a long time.
Her too with her power.
Say what you want though. Gambit went out like a soldier.
Yes,
Dude.
absolutely.
That motherfucker was.
Yep. And that's the thing. Whenever he got stabbed,
he's impaled, and he's like, "The name's Gambit." I'm just like, "This motherfucker's." And I saw that thing glowing. I'm like, "He's going out."
Well, that's the thing.
Son.
Before I knew that's what he was gonna do, when he got stabbed, I'm like, "Oh no! Oh wait a minute! Oh no! He's gonna go out like
Let's
a boss."
just,
Don't play it. Please
Yes.
don't play this. Please don't play this.
I gotta say, the last 2 seconds of this episode are my favorite. I'll tell you why.
Rogue's moment right here is fucking great.
Yeah. Yeah, the animation's really good.
I love this part where he's
Yeah.
boom.
So we don't get copyrighted.
Did you notice the bow to mayo insert right there?
I did see that. Yeah.
Yeah, I need to pause it just so we don't get dinged.
That was
Yeah.
Bo DeMaio.
Yeah,
in
there was
the-
definitely
Yeah,
a bow
that
to
was
mayo.
censored.
Yeah, but
I gotta
he's
say,
still
it's for the
started
sake of
as a
art.
cameo.
Right.
Everybody
And that's
does
fine.
in their own shit. Everybody cameos their own stuff.
Yeah, Michael Bay was in the first Transformers movie. He put his
Now-
he put his CGI self in there, and Megatron thumped him.
Oh really? That's
No,
funny.
it's
Yeah,
not, it's
that's
not
Michael
like
Bay.
the guy from Naughty Dog who made himself an actual character in the game just so he could
yeah.
raw dog Abby.
I gotta say, one thing that this show and just this episode in particular does so well is sound design.
Yes.
There's no like big old extended beam sound that just comes out. You see the flash, and then there's silence for like a split second. You don't even notice it till you notice it, and then the massive wall of sound comes in. And
Yeah,
every
once-
single
so right.
episode does this so well. Whenever there's a big set piece, big powers coming in, a big explosion, a big impactful whatever, there's always like a split second of silence for you to really feel the impact of what's going to happen next. And this, especially here, the way that we deal with silence because we're dealing with the massacring of the entire mutant race. Essentially, this thing is an atomic bomb times 10 dropped in an entire country, and this thing is scary as hell. It's Godzilla -1 times 50, and it's wiping out an entire like put upon society. They think they have paradise in their hands, and it's being torn away from them bit by bit. And just the sound, this would not have worked if it was like the typical modern Hollywood sound design where it's just everything thrown at you in the kitchen sink.
To finally go somewhere where society won't fuck with you, just to have society show up and fuck with you.
Yeah, it's
Well,
like
and what you were saying, Strider, about like the silence, right? So like negative space, that's where you feel uncomfortable and the anticipation builds, right? So like those moments, just like keep it building upon like the already like building things from all the sound effects and all the action or whatever, but the silence just like silence is uncomfortable for most people, right? So they did that really masterfully, like inserting those little bits there to just enhance the anticipation of the moment, right?
100%.
Not just
especially
there, though. Like Strider was talking about the sound design. Like it's not just this. This is amazing, but like what they do in that, like the prophecy, like Gene's vision of the future, like in the beginning, they're playing the same Ace of Base song from the actual island from the dance where Rogue and Magneto are doing that amazing thing. There's just so many, and there's so many lines in there that then come back from later on. It's just so amazing. They really knew what the hell they were doing with the sound design, but every part keeps bringing you back in.
And I don't know if anybody noticed this, but when they're first flying into Genosha on the X-Jet, there is there's the X-Men theme, but it's in a major it's in a major key. And so it has this triumphant feeling, and then all of a sudden it all comes crashing down in silence in the end.
You know, they did the same thing for what do you call it, Phantom Menace. So you know, right at the end of Phantom Menace, where they're playing all that happy song and they're all celebrating. Yeah, that is a major key performance of the Emperor's tune. You know, the da 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 da. Well, it's actually the major key, and so that's the song at the end of Phantom Menace. Anyway,
oh yeah, it is. I never caught that before. Yeah, that
but
is.
the hauntingness of the song at the end as well, where they're kind of doing it again, but the sad version, like it is just the sound on this show is amazing.
And, yes,
unlike a lot of the live action
specific episode where they cut to that, you know, like you've been watching the first few episodes, and it's like the consistent, you know, it's the end of the episode, you know, it's like playing the animation of them on the computer screen spinning around, gives them the little blurb and everything. But then in this one, you know, you've got the solemnness of the music that they play at the very end, following, you know, Rogue crying her eyes out right at the end there.
That three-headed sentinel, your fault. Whoop, whoop, that sounds like Terminator Salvation when I saw it in the movie theater, the big harvester thing.
Yeah,
it was the sound in Terminator Salvation in the movie theater was phenomenal.
One thing that's funny,
and that thing when you get that sound before the head switches on this thing.
Unlike a lot of the live action Marvel projects, this one actually it didn't shy away from it. It didn't cut to a joke or gag. It stayed somber all the way until the end, and it had lasting effects throughout the rest of the episodes.
Keeping
and on a fucking kids show.
Well, that is our childhood. Movie. Our childhood is full of trauma, right? Like Never Ending Story, Artax, and like every Land Before Time, the shoe in Roger Rabbit, all of the things we were geared for trauma, and they in a lot of animated series since our childhood have been too nice and flowery, and now there's a happy ending or whatever. Just tap back into the time where you do see your favorite characters die. You don't know what to expect because life is unpredictable. Like that is part of the member berries.
Fortunately,
experience
that's life.
Like,
hell with all them other shows. They killed Optimus Prime. Fuck that.
I know.
You see, the issue is, right, so back in the 60s and that sort of thing, we're still in the arse end of, like, you know, the recovery from the war. And so kids still needed to be a little bit harder and a little bit tougher. That's why Gen X are, like, the last sort of toughened. Yeah, they're sort of like the last toughened generation. After that, people started becoming more and more infantilized because they didn't need to fight so many wars. Things could be done more conventionally nowadays. And we were all everyone just seemed to be friends at the time. So in Western countries, and It's the same in Japan as well. Like after Big Daddy America dropped the fucking bomb, you know, that's what happened to them too. They just became over like they were nanny stated, and they just turned into like children. That's why they love
infantilized
that
a generation.
Yeah, they
I
love
blame
kids.
participation trophies. That
Sorry,
once they
they love
started
kids stuff,
introducing
is what I meant to say.
participation trophies, everything went to shit.
Yeah, definitely.
But again, proves Deadpool 2 correct. How movies start out with the grisly murder, Lion King, Bambi, Saw 7. I mean, so.
All right, let's get back into the tearjerker.
Yes, please, but no, but I like this, but I hate it.
God's always be in my favor.
Oh shit.
Jess, you're gonna have to
I
give
was
Darnell
not
a hug here.
expecting that. When that happened, I was expecting something to happen, but not that.
Oh, it's gotta hurt so bad.
Mutant intruder neutralized.
That's right.
The thing is, though, I mean,
Mon ami.
Mon ami.
Ew.
I had a crack.
Remember it.
It never gets easier.
This part. Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Sugar. I can't feel you.
Oh, I just got chills down my legs.
Same. I actually, in preparation for, I watched this episode yesterday, and I could not stop crying. I was like, oh my god!
Damn, she sells that right there.
She does, and like this, her voice unfortunately does sound like a 6-year-old. It does sound like a 6-year-old woman voicing Rogue, but not here.
No,
Here,
doesn't.
it absolutely works.
It cracks, man. It cracks when she's saying that.
I love that cut to black. I can't feel you. That's all they ever wanted. She's that's how it tells the audience in no uncertain terms. He is dead. She is touching him. He is gone. And you can see the whole half of his head blown up, like missing his hair. And it's like, I
love how we were going to go
with the dialogue so well too.
Being at the first, and we just like, let's talk about this. Oh,
well, I mean, the first several episodes were great, but this is where the show really kicked off. And I heard I didn't coin this. I think it was just some guy called it the X-Men Red Wedding. Yep. And that's exactly what it reminded me of, because the entire episode of the show was a little soapy. It was good. It was fine, but nobody was expecting that. It's only when you see Cable running up to Madeline Pryor.
Before that, her nose starts bleeding. Both her and Jean, their nose starts bleeding. Like, oh, something's gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah, and then it had the news interviews at the mansion, and then the Scott cheating on Jean psychically with Madeline. So,
but that had such great character moments there, because it's not, you get it, because this is that is an unenviable position for both of them to be in, because Jean Grey has all these quote memories, but they're not her memories, they're Madeline Pryor's, and they're not exactly entirely sure when that switch happened. So Jean Grey is not Nathan's mother, that's Madeline. And so she's trying to conjure up like, these are all my memories, but they're also not my memories, because there's a separate person, but this person is me. And so, but you understand why Scott would have that kind of psychic rapport with Madeline and try to go back to that, because that's the relationship he's known. That's the trauma bond of them having kids. Oh,
God, I mean,
good.
And is it really cheating if it's pretty much the same person? I mean,
that's the thing. There is no black and white here, which I really enjoyed.
It's not like she's her twin or something.
Her exact copy. That's with all of her memories.
I mean, we're really going to go through the logistics of the relationships of clones now. I mean, like we might as well say that if you could go and like see yourself in a different time and you fucked yourself, that would be masturbation.
Iron, since your wife is on panel, the only right answer is yes. That's completely cheating and wrong in every way.
So twins have the same DNA. They commit a crime. The other one, like, you can't differentiate between two twins. But they have different fingerprints. Do clones have different fingerprints?
No,
I don't think so.
Good question.
Oh.
And here's the thing about this particular set of clones. Jean even remembers being pregnant with Cable, with Nathan.
Yeah.
So because their memories are completely mixed up.
They're synced up. Oh no.
Yeah.
Well, at least he can literally say he did love her for her mind. You know.
Yeah.
Now, yeah, let's see this episode.
damn you for playing this so.
Where's the next one?
We pretty much EFAT this entire season, and it would be amazing.
Yeah, hang on. Stop on this scene a second. When the fuck did they change the branding on that image? Because that's only been a new development, hasn't it? Where they've separated it into Marvel Animation and Marvel
a couple
Television.
days ago. A couple days ago, it came out. It was a couple days
Interesting.
ago. It's a way to tell you don't have to watch everything to know what's going on.
Because we're all stupid.
Yeah. I mean, that's a joke. Like, we're all stupid. But, I mean, remember, Disney had a whole playlist of all the Star Wars things you needed to catch up on in order to understand Ahsoka. And it had like a dozen things on there.
And you really
do think we're stupid.
You really have to watch anything.
Oh, yes.
This is sad.
Oh,
Now,
the Morlocks.
When he spoke in his native language to tell him not to be afraid, that pretty much broke me. I thought Magneto, they were actually going to go with the Magneto death. Maybe they wouldn't want to do what actually happens in the comic books, and he's pushed that far. And, kind of subvert expectations, because we all saw in episode 3, The Trial of Magneto, when one of my favorite lines of the show is when he has all of the congressional judges or whatever they are up and just up above the atmosphere just to tell them, I'm trying to be better. Please don't let me let you down.
Yeah, don't make me disappoint you.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah.
That's brilliant writing, because obviously let you down means two things in that scene. Obviously disappoint you, make you feel like like a fail, but also let you down, drop to earth to kill you. So that means
don't make me break my foot off in your ass.
I didn't even realize that. You're right. The
good Southern black woman, Jack. That was a good job.
Nice. That was pretty good.
I am a black
They did that quite
woman,
a few
that's why.
times. Like, I don't think the Gambit scene would have had as much resonance if they didn't have like the previous line of, you light up everything you touch, but never me. Or I can't remember the exact line that Rogue says, but
that was
there's so many
important,
things
but
that set these up.
What she said after is what really made it, when she couldn't feel him.
Yeah.
You're right, but that last part is what really just drove it home.
Now, granted,
well, and it's good writing, because that one, conversation they had tied directly into, something she's saying that he's never going to hear.
Yeah.
It was also interesting. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Oh no, go ahead.
I was just saying, in addition to like the touching thing, that the first time they touch on and when they're floating in the air, he's right there. He's right in between them, and they're touching hands, and that's the one thing he's always wanted from Rogue since the very first episode. That he's being denied it. It's being right in front of his face, but it's not malicious. This is just a reality he has to live with. But it hurts so much, and you feel that. You see his face just completely crestfallen watching her have. With this guy, like Eric Lensher, probably one of the worst mutants to have ever, second, third, fourth, fifth, one of the worst mutants to ever exist, an absolute terrorist in his own right, being appointed to this celebrated position, and now he gets to have his choice of queen with Rogue. This is not fair. Like, it's no coincidence that it's also framed where Gambit is on the floor, on the ground, and he and both Magneto and Rogue get to dance in midair above everybody, celebrated, while he just gets to sit there and mold and seethe, and it's very sad.
But Magneto's looking at him through the corner of his eye, like, yeah, that's right, we can both fly. Fuck you.
That's the thing. I think it makes it worse. Magneto doesn't look at him at all. There's no shared moment between the two. I was like,
he pretty much disregards.
He doesn't care.
Every scene.
He rubs it in on the way to the island in the plane. Like, you're the only one who needs this to fly there.
Yeah. You're the only one for whom gravity will be an issue.
Yeah.
I love that scene.
He was thinking, I know he's watching us, and good. Fuck him. He was thinking that.
But going back to the comment of the expecting kind of more of a Magneto possible death, well, we don't know about what's going on with Charles at the time. But when you get the episode after this one, and now you start to see what Xavier's been up to, the fact that I think this is definitely going to lead into season 2, and it's going to be a rebirth and the major conflict between Magneto and Charles again. With
That was one of the big things.
the king of the mutants, as he kind of sees himself as, and that's the reason why he doesn't care about. Well, he cares about his kind, but that's why he had no problem floating above everyone else, because he sees him as the top mutant.
Well, good
He's
or
the ruler
evil,
of all.
Magneto. One of his character traits, he is a megalomaniac.
Right.
I mean, even when he's at his best, like Age of Apocalypse Magneto, all the way around good guy, trying to save what's left of the humans, the Homo sapiens, from apocalypse, and get them out of like breeding camps and out of being enslaved. If anybody's read that, it's a great story, great run. But even then, he's still a fucking prick. He's still a megalomaniac.
Yeah.
One
Yeah,
of
the
the
best
things I
leaders
wanted
usually
to
are.
say. One of the things I wanted to say about this was like they kept showing the vanity card for Professor X at the beginning of the show, but he wasn't in the show, and I was like, where the fuck is Professor X, man? Why is he dead? Do you know what I mean? What's going on here? Because I didn't quite understand what was going on. And I was like, what? Why is it? Why is he fucking dead? What's going on here? And like, he was in the beginning, like he's in the vanity card of the show, so I knew that he had to be in it. Otherwise, what's the fucking point in putting him in the beginning of the show? So and every episode I would just kept waiting for him to appear. I was like, when's he gonna fucking come into the show? You're like wasting a lot of opportunity.
He only had
We're
he was only in the
talking about
series.
episodes. We could
He
talk
was only-
about this one episode the whole time. So let's go
We
on.
definitely can.
The next episode is the big reveal that he's up with the Shi'ar Empire in space.
But going back to the title cards real quick, Professor Xavier is only in the title card on the very first episode, because once it's revealed that Magneto now has been willed the X-Men, it's then Xavier. I mean, it's now Magneto that now takes that spot.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right.
I guess as long as we're talking about that,
the intros
were
were one of my favorite parts about this whole series and how they all tied into the episodes. Gambit never made a comeback after his death. They still show him in the side scenes, but he's replaced by Nightcrawler. When they do a big costume change, like Storm finally getting her original costume back, which looked really good. They have her actually wearing that costume. So,
like
and they
this
do a
shot.
lot of other things. Toward the end of the series, you see all the humans that are running at that final scene when you have the X-Men facing the Brotherhood. Up until the very last episode, after they're all freed, you see them all infected with the Sentinel virus.
What?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Was it
It's
the
so
last
awesome.
few episodes when I think it was 8 when it happened.
Yep.
It was 8,
Go
9,
back
and
and watch.
10
All of
happened.
the humans are pink with the Sentinel virus.
Notice that.
Great.
this
What
is
was
one of
it
the
you
only
wanted to
shows
say
that I
about
haven't
the
skipped the
intros?
intro.
Same.
Like,
Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah.
Did anyone
What
here
did you
actually
wanna
skip
say?
them?
No.
Never
No.
did.
No.
Nope.
Because I love the I love
All
the
the
I love the intro
outros.
music.
So this
Yeah.
is one thing
Jack,
that
what
I
were you
do.
saying, man? Oh,
Right.
Jack.
Oh, I wanted Gray to say what he was saying. I was just responding to what he was asking about.
Okay.
Did everybody
Sorry,
see the intros? And I was like, yeah, I saw every intro and I watched every outro as well because I wanted to see if there was going to be any after credit scenes. Anyway, Gray, what was you saying about the intros? Because I wanted to hear that.
That's basically it. Just I can't remember the last time that I actually wanted to watch the intro and usually just skip them. It's like, okay, I've seen this before. This was engaging from start to finish. Like it's just amazing. The only other thing that I can think is like Game of Thrones, where they were kind of changing it up, but even this, I feel like it was more dramatic and directly affecting each episode.
And I noticed that the music has changed a little bit. It's been revamped. There's a few different instruments in there, but every single time I've been sitting here, it's like dun dun Dun, dun. And I'm like, I'm pumped up. I'm getting pumped up with the music, getting ready to watch it with my daughter. Do you know what I mean? And like, it's banging. I love it.
Yeah.
No, and I love that they even throw little Easter eggs in every
So many.
intro. Sometimes there's even little just clips of things that happened not even in any episode, just off screen. You'll see Cable fighting Apocalypse, scenes with Mr. Sinister, maybe a toss back to one of the older episodes from the original series. So yeah, I would usually go back and rewatch the intro after watching the episode.
That's what I would do. I was in a hurry to get to the episode. I would skip in the intro. I'd watch it and I'd rewatch the episode and I'd watch the beginning again.
Now, the next episode after the Red Wedding was the reveal that Professor X is kind of fucked off getting married in space.
I will admit,
Lieutenant Dan, you got new legs.
He's become an absentee father, which is
Oh no.
He went out to get some bread and cigarettes.
Oh, they're gonna race
ended up
off
with a
him,
pair of
aren't they?
new legs.
Well, to be fair, he got taken off. He was on his deathbed. They didn't think they didn't know if he was going to live or not. That was his only shot to see if possibly they could save him.
Can help him, yeah.
And they actually did, and he's just kind of been there getting the space strange ever since.
He deserved it.
The space strange.
Well, that's the kind of tragedy of Professor X. Like he will never know true happiness because his responsibility, his life, I guess what he's married to is the X-Men, for lack of a better term. He can never escape it. Yep, they are his kids. They're his kids. Even if you try to give away leadership to Scott, he'll do the best he can. But the world will always need Professor X. He can never have a normal life.
Is this Xavier's dream?
Yeah.
So
Vision.
in this scene,
Vision.
he psychically occupied all of the aliens during his trial because Deathbird, the sister of, I can never pronounce her name, but you know who I'm talking about.
Lalandra.
You're wrong. Yeah.
Lalandra,
I guess. Is that how you
Bird
say it?
Featherhead.
Yeah.
The Silverhawk.
Jack Kirby's wet dream. Anyway.
You notice how they talk about they were hatched too? I'm like, yeah. How do you look like people? What the fuck? How are you hatched?
Oh,
They look so much like people.
So Iron, before you mentioned that, I know we moved on from that episode, from the previous episode, but I wanted to point out, because I was rewatching it, whenever Eric, in the previous episode, whenever Magneto's giving his spiel on like the round table, there's a shot of like a whiskey glass with some ice in it, and it's framed like right in front of Magneto. And so Magneto mentioned Charles's dream, and at that point, the ice cracks and fragments.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
So amazing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to point that out. Sorry.
Little things like that.
I forgot about that.
That was there's a lot of attention to detail throughout the entire series.
Does anyone else think that Bastion was there? Did anyone else get my picture? Was that
Yeah,
Bastion? That looks like Bastion to me.
It's definitely Bastion.
Vodomeo confirmed it that he's been in almost every episode. Yeah.
Oh yes.
There's
okay. I got to do a whole nother rewatch.
He's hiding.
You do. In this one, he's walking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just see the top of his hair, just the part in his hair as he walks by.
Magneto comes in,
while
he
they're
passes
dancing.
for like 2 frames, and then that's it. And I'm like, oh, holy shit. Yeah.
The easy one to see is when Forged, I guess it would have been Life Death 1, when you see his cork board full of a bunch of pictures. The one that's covered up definitely has Bastion's like jacket with the black and the pink.
That, yeah.
But supposedly he's in almost every episode.
Did anyone see the cameo by Quarter Black Garrett?
Yeah, I saw that you tweeted that, man. I had to go. I love that he's.
I put it in the private chat.
Forgot about that.
Yeah, man.
You showed that back in March. That was awesome.
I gotta ask one question. Was the animation like initially kind of off-putting to you guys?
No.
So I love it now. I don't know if I just got used to it or if it got better.
Well, to be honest with you, let me tell you something. To be honest with you, the original X-Men 97 animation was sloppy. There was a lot of sloppiness in there, man. Because I went back and rewatched I watched like the last 4 or 5 episodes before I got into this, just to get the vibe of where it was going and everything like that. Mm-hmm. But I remember that animation at times was sloppy, and the color
Yeah.
was very. It didn't blend well. They didn't like. It was stark contrast. You know, there wasn't any kind of like. It reminded me of like. It reminded me of like an animation company called son of a bitch, Acom. They were like the cheap.
It was Saban,
knockoff.
supposedly.
Yeah.
So
It
they're the
just-
ones that really screwed it up.
Now,
but
One season was
this-
really inconsistent.
I like, yeah, it's very inconsistent. But this stuff, I at first I was like, but then the more I was like looking at all the subtle stuff in it, and I'm like, this isn't some sloppy. We're throwing it out. Now, granted, there was
I'm not talking about
that
that.
many more
like,
episodes. I think there was 13 episodes in the original. That I know it is with Spider-Man in the animated series. There was 13 episodes for seasons, and this is 10. That's not too bad. But it was they had more time to work on it, and they put more care into it, and probably it's a little easier than drawing everything by hand painstakingly like they did back then.
And to answer your question, Gray, I completely agree, Diesel. You can definitely tell it was not hand drawn, and that was a little bit hard to swallow for the first couple episodes.
It is, but
it was definitely done by computer. There's still a lot of work done in it.
Yeah,
it looks
sure.
beautiful. It's just still definitely most definitely done by computer.
A lot of the backgrounds and stuff is done by computer, but you can't have that without hand-drawn animation. They got more tools to do it easier, so that you don't have to have an army of
right. I mean, they're not
of South
they're not
Koreans
putting
in a
them
sweatshop
on
doing this like like freaking like Toei did in the 80s when they were doing like it took 2 years to animate the 86 Transformers movie. They even had that in the promos for it. 2 years in the making. They were animating that for 2 years.
Yeah.
That's how long it took to make a 90-minute film.
Jeez.
But that movie is beautiful.
Answer Iron's question about the animation. So I heard a lot of people saying that they were unhappy with the animation and it wasn't the same as what they remembered, etc., etc. Now, when I watched it, I thought that there was no problem with the animation because it is, as we say now, you know, as we've just been saying, it's digitized now. None of it is the old ink and paint as we used to have. None of it's all that cell shading anymore. Yep. It's all done digitally. It's all, you know, like back in the day, you used to have to send all of the frames out to Korea or whatever, and they would finish all the lines up. They would do some of the coloring, that sort of thing. Now you don't need to do that. You know, you don't have to wait around for it as long, I guess. You can still ship it out to Korea and, you know, outsource your work to there. Anyway, my point is that it's just more crisp now. The colors are brighter. You know, it's crisper. But if you look at what they've done, they've still tried to emulate the sort of half frame
they captured that 90s. They captured that 90s essence, and it looks like
the sort of 12 frames a second.
So,
it still looks like it's 12 frames a second.
Yeah, did a good job capturing that. I felt that.
Let's just be honest. Go back and watch the first few episodes of the original show.
Yeah,
and you're gonna be okay.
It's like
this.
Just
give Rogue her ass back, and nobody will be.
Jubilee's in the mall, and you're getting attacked by the Sentinels. I think she shoots one. She shoots one. It like falls. It like catches itself and falls again. Not like it did it, but like the animators fucked it up.
No, you know what is funny as shit about that? That Sentinel is just chilling by a building, like nobody's gonna notice this 30-foot tall.
Yeah.
I thought we already jumped at the animation. I'm crossing that off the list.
Oh shit! Sorry, man.
Well,
I didn't realize that was on the list. It just kind of reminded me, the one that Jack posted, his awesome tweet about Quarter Black Garrett being the DJ. It was that scene in particular, and I think that's episode 2. Maybe that's 1. I can't remember. But when Jubilee's dancing, essentially, like I don't know, that's the one part that I was thinking of where it's like, ooh, I don't know about this animation. That was the one thing that made me feel iffy, but I felt nothing like that.
That scene was a little off-putting. It almost looked like retroscope.
Yeah.
Where they actually took a video of somebody dancing and then animated over.
So that's what I was wondering. Like, did it get better or did I just get used to it?
Hey, Lan,
Right.
let me tell you
That's why I had
something
no
about
problem with the animation because it felt like they were taking it from the TV show, from the older show. It felt like it was just a continuation of it. That's why I had no issue with it.
I love how man, let me tell you something. Every single time when the Marvel animation screen comes up, the music they play there throws me off. I can never get to where it hits. I can never get it in my head where it kicks into the X-Men theme. It fooled me. It fools me every single time on every single episode, man. Look at Quarter Black. That's him.
Look at him. Look at Quarter Black going.
Quarter Black.
I thought there would be sound. I thought this would play the whole thing.
Does Gary know
No,
he's
I
mighty?
didn't add sound to the video. I just cut it from the video and I took the sound out of it.
Well, now we know what Gary's inside source is at all things Marvel.
Yeah,
But I will say
Black the
that
whole time.
to answer your question, Gray, the animation, the animation was a little bit off-putting, except when it got to the action scenes. And the action scenes are where I was so glad that we're getting this show now, because it had some of probably the most epic shots of superhero action that I've ever seen. We've had how many? 12 years?
Never looked better.
Cyclops never looked better. Storm powers looked freaking great, but the way that they framed these characters and made every punch and every emission of powers or whatever they were, they made it easy to track, and they made it epic in a way that like modern Marvel could not do. And the way that they there's so many different explosions, just amazing hero shots, like Storm in the desert, lightninging all the sand and turning into glass. I
was just going to mention that scene. That's in episode 1 where her introduction to fight the Sentinels.
Yeah.
And the music completely changes. The sand's turning to glass. That was just an amazing shot. The whole.
Every time there's action, I'm never disappointed. It's only kind of in the smaller scenes between. I know the one between Rogue and Jean Grey talking about motherhood was kind of like, but just because it was crisper than I'm used to, it's much faster than I'm used to, and I understand it. But it definitely they took their time with the action scenes and made everything look epic, and I really appreciated that.
Yeah,
it was also the intensity of them too. Like in the first one, whenever somebody would get mad, they might scream in the original, and their power might get a little more intense. But there was like you said, there's parts where when they were using their power when they were angry, like when Rogue really takes it to Bastion at the end and just breaking him apart when she's beating him up like against I think the moon or whatever it was. It got so intense. Or when Scott used his blast at the very end on him, and he literally the whole screen's taken up by red. Just like his blast is so massive at that point, it's just more intense of action scenes.
It's right after that. It's right after that scene where he says goodbye to Nathan, and like he's like, "Right, Gene, it's time to say goodbye." And then as soon as like they disappear, it's like, "Right, that's it."
Yeah.
Yeah, wicked.
Yeah, and like, hey, dude, if you think this is bad, go back and watch Spider-Man the animated series. Dude, they throw CGI into that show, and it looks like dog shit, man.
It looks like it's you want to talk about off-putting, you're right.
It's like it keeps having this one shot going between these buildings, and it's the same buildings, and it's the same shot every time.
But I remember that from watching it originally. I remember
nothing. It looks nothing like the animation either. It's so
no, but I remember seeing that and saying to myself, "That's 3D animation." That is. I was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." That is. I can't believe that they were able to do 3D animation, but like skin it in ink and paint. That's fucking awesome. And then now you look back at it, and it's like,
oh man, I know what they were doing. It was the 90s. They were trying some stuff, but like,
yeah. I mean, if you remember, even in Aladdin, the movie, the carpet scene, when he's leaving the carpet, it just suddenly goes into like PlayStation 1 graphics. Escaping the kid.
Oh, wait, it does?
Yeah.
Kinda. No, not as bad as
that made
that,
me
but
kind of felt like as a kid.
I think I know what you're talking about. Oh,
it's
right.
jolting.
No, it's first person view where they're flying, right?
Right.
Yeah, like the CG asset rocks are like, okay.
Gilbert Godfrey was the best part of that movie. And none of it, no kids ever had any idea about that man. I just I wish, rest in peace. I wanted that man to narrate my life. Diesel's coming in the door. Just like, you know,
I'd rather have Norm Macdonald.
Right, get
myself.
him some coffee.
I love that Gilbert Gottfried is Diesel's spirit animal. It's like, it's
Right?
He is, man.
I can see it.
And he is, dude. Have you ever seen, like, there's a thing, I forget, it's a clip or something.
He makes
I'm
problem
not sure what
child.
it's, where he reads Harlequin romance novels, and it's
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
it's like, and then he stroked the breasts and pulled it out, and she was getting, he was getting.
Oh, I know what
wet.
you're talking about.
All this stuff is so good, man.
Are we going to talk about the voice acting yet, or is that later?
We
I
kind
had
of already did, but we'll get
Okay.
back into it. Let's
That's
just
fine.
knock out these episodes real quick, and then we can go into. I've got a whole agenda here. I'm trying to be more organized at this. Hopefully,
Hey,
it shows.
Absolutely,
Now,
it does.
this episode,
Yeah, sorry for
Diesel, you were
sidetrack.
asking if this was a dream sequence. It wasn't. He had just hijacked everybody and was literally schooling them. Put all of
Yeah.
the aliens into a classroom
That was funny.
and was.
Oh, I remember that, but like, what is this? This is Gambit.
Yeah.
So
Yes, and
this
it's
is the
foreshadowing.
exact moment Gambit dies, and it hits him psychically.
Okay, that's why I
And
knew
you
it
get
was
to
some-
see his actual. A lot of people don't realize that he would have had and does have a pretty good connection with Gambit.
He saw how
didn't-
he felt him die or something, right? He
Yeah,
could experience his
exactly.
death. Yeah.
Yeah, another one of his, wayward adopted, I guess, I can't think of the right word right now, but one of his kids basically
Yep.
sees him
Yeah.
dying. This is definitely some foreshadowing to him seeing him like this for season 2. But that line when he's like, no, you were supposed to be enjoying life, drinking wine, making love. I was like, whoa.
Which is a line out of the
Uh,
comics. That's
and
pretty
they,
awesome.
Yeah, that was an
name's
exact
Gambit.
I
exactly.
didn't know that. That's cool.
Remember it. When he said "remember it," I was like, "Oh,
Oh, yeah, that's a
man, God,
gut
it
punch.
was
Like
man.
that's
I could
that's,
have made
that's the
this
brilliance.
whole show just around that one episode. I'm not even.
Well, it's
kidding.
it's packed to the gills, and the thing is that's just a testament to the writing that the guy actually wrote this actually gave a damn, because that was his catchphrase in the entire original animated series. Remember it, like name's Gambit.
I was so
remember
excited
it. And
for
then
that
that's how he
episode.
ends. Yes.
I was like, it's finally a Gambit episode. Yes.
Man,
Oh.
they
Heartbreaking.
made Storm look good.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, Storm's voice actress also
With-
sounded perfect too.
Yeah,
She
So
sounded-
good.
I
She's
wouldn't, even
amazing.
though a lot of them did sound older, and unfortunately was the women
Rogue
who
did,
sounded
yeah.
the most.
She
aged.
didn't.
Yep,
she
but
did.
it was Allison Seeley
thought-
Smith
She did.
again. She came
Well,
back and
again-
she sounded more, I don't know, more.
I would
whatever you
take
wanna call
the
that,
original
regal than ever.
actors, no matter how old they
Yeah.
sound.
Oh yeah.
Well, here's the thing. At least 3 of them. I know the voice for Jean Grey is dead. The voice for Xavier is dead, and the
Magneto's
voice for
dead.
Gambit is dead.
So,
So they had to
the
replace
voice
them.
of Cyclops, Magneto, and
Yes.
Apocalypse too.
Really? I thought the
Yep.
Cyclops was the original one.
No.
Nope,
No,
he did a
really?
great
Okay.
job.
he does
That
a great
guy
job.
does
That
a lot of
guy-
video game voice acting.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
He's
Ray
a lot
Chase
younger.
did.
He actually grew up on the show.
Wow.
So you can kind of hear that Cyclops sounds a lot younger than a lot of the other X-Men.
Yeah,
It was
well,
actually
it's-
cool. I don't know if y'all knew this. So the voice actors for Professor Xavier is Ross Marquand. He was
Yeah.
in Walking
Mhm.
Dead, and it was also the voice.
That
Also
dude has like
Red Skull
85
and,
voices in his pocket to go at any given
Yeah.
time.
Wait,
Well, he also
he-
voiced. He was also
he
voice of
plays
Red
the
Skull
guy.
in
He
Infinity
plays
War.
the gay dude who lost his hand too, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
was he
that
in
guy does.
Walking
Yeah,
Dead?
he does crazy impersonations. God, I can't.
Yeah.
Selena, what's the name of his character in the show?
What season?
It's
Can't-
not
I can't think of
Jesus.
it.
It's the same episode.
No.
Where it's the same one where they
No, he hooked up with Jesus for a minute until Jesus died.
Aaron.
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 Yes,
Out of context,
Yeah,
that
Aaron-
would
that
sound
guy-
so
Yeah.
blasphemous.
I know.
It still sounds blasphemous.
Yeah,
That's
for a
still
second there, I was all like,
that's
if
still
we're
a show as
gossiping about
bad as
Jesus,
it
I'm
got.
in.
I'm a huge Walking Dead fan. I know the show's shit the bed.
And he's a
Completely,
huge
but-
Jesus fan too, so sorry about that, God and Jesus.
Oopsie.
Now the following episode is what's it called? Retta, you said the
Life,
title, Life Death Part 2.
Oh
Yeah,
no,
Part
hang
2.
on, because right, so the episode where he we realize that he's still around, yeah, right. He gets introduced to the people by the princess. Yeah, he's like, "This is going to be my husband." Yeah, but on the way in, yeah, to the sort of make the announcement, they're talking about this whole thing about him being her pet.
Yeah,
that sort of thing, and I had a real problem with that because immediately I went, "Oh no, that you cucked him." Because he turns around and he says, "Well, maybe that wouldn't be such a bad idea." And I was like,
okay, he's a cripple who's getting laid finally. Of course he's going to say something like that.
Legs again.
Hey,
I didn't really feel my dick.
You got him some legs, man. Like, I bet he can get it on in that power armor, man.
Legs, man. He can finally.
I mean,
feel his
rolling
dick.
around in his wheelchair with Storm looking like this,
Hey,
Rogue
he's-
and Jean
he
Grey,
wasn't legs,
and
man.
he's
He got
just
his
the
dick back.
kindly old man in a wheelchair. Get you that space train,
Yeah.
Charles.
He's the sugar daddy that doesn't get any, and he finally gets a girl to want to touch it.
He's like,
Yeah.
I can feel this now for the first time.
You know what it kind of, you know what? For some reason, it kind of reminded me of in Aqua Teen Hunger Force when Frylock had those robotic legs.
Yes.
We all can hope that we have lead in our
To
pencil
kinda-
at that age, right? I mean, come on.
I do kind of want to, Jack, you did say Professor X was getting cucked. In a way, yeah, when they said that, but here's the thing. He knows he doesn't want to impose too much on, they have their own foreign, hierarchy and political structure. He's just there. But the minute he had to, he literally hijacked all of their minds and took them to school. So
Call them
I understand he's the princess consort. I get it.
Yeah. If he was more of a Magneto mindset, he could conquer them probably.
That's what I was about to say. It fits within his character not to try to upset the balance, because that's his whole that's who he is. He's trying to keep the balance. He's trying to keep the peace. Magneto would ultimately be like, here's what's going to happen from now on. I know I'm a foreigner to your shores, but I'm in charge now. Look at me. I'm the captain now.
He would have Deathbird in a gold bikini like Return of the Jedi on a chain leash, okay? That's what Magneto would
You know what? Magneto's not sounding too bad after all this.
Magneto was right.
Hey,
You know
if that's what we
what?
get from mutant supremacy, sign me up.
You know what else was? You know what else was like? You know what was hilarious about the original series? Every time Magneto showed up and started playing that damn music, every single time, like that. Whenever he showed up,
well, if you
they would
notice,
play
most
that
of the
stupid-ass
characters
music in the back. No, it was bad.
Most of the characters have their own theme music. Wolverine has a little bit of a theme song that they play when he like makes an entrance or says something.
Dude, the Magneto. Go back and watch. Dude, go back and watch that. That Magneto stuff is. Oh man, it just is like it's.
They use a lot of cowbell with Magneto's theme.
No, it's this crazy keyboard shit, just like like some calliope keyboard sounding stuff.
I thought it was fucking dope. I don't care.
I just thought of that. It was funny, man.
Yeah.
In my head.
All right,
anyway.
so
the Rogue looks
the
hot.
follow.
Yes.
Now, oh man, we skipped a lot of good episodes. There's one I want to go back to. I didn't bring anything in. This is the Goblin Queen episode.
Episode 3.
Did anyone
Fire
else
Made
notice
Flesh.
that entire episode went complete horror? It turned into a Cronenberg movie.
That was a
It's
whole,
so awesome.
Like,
I
that's
love.
what really sold me on the show, because I was still on the fence with 1 and 2. I was liking it, but I was like, it went 3, dude. I was like, I'm fucking in. I am.
All right,
in.
what was 3? You got to remind me, man.
was the
It's
haunted
called
house
Fire
one,
Made
right?
Horror
Flesh.
episode,
It's
where, like, the house
yeah,
went
it's the
crazy
horror
and was
episode with
attacking
Madeline
Yeah.
Pryor as the Goblin Queen.
That was pretty great.
And they made her hot as fuck too.
Oh yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Hey man,
They toned it down a little bit.
dude, in the comic books, Jean Grey is dead after being Dark Phoenix, and Scott
Sorta.
sees Madeline Pryor somewhere, and he's like, "Holy shit, that looks just like Jean." I had a graphic novel that had that issue in it, where when he first sees Madeline Pryor, if I'm not mistaken, like it's Jean Grey is dead
She's dead. They don't know she's a clone. In fact, in the comic book, as the reader, you're wondering if that is actually Jean. Because memories start coming back to her and all this.
Yeah. I did
then
get
the big
that part,
reveal.
too.
Yeah,
that was
she
in
plant.
like the late 70s, wasn't it?
Yeah,
and it's messy as hell. So Claremont had like an idea on it.
Yeah.
He wanted to give Scott Summers a happy ending where he goes off with Madeline Pryor and they never come back. But yeah, the studio had a different idea for it and brought her back numerous times. And then if you're bringing her back, of course you got to bring back Scott.
That was kind of
has
messy,
to happen.
man. They even went out. You're right.
It's so messy.
Yeah,
It's what made me hate Scott.
Yeah, because he just like, ew, you're a clone. I got the real one over here. Bye.
Even though I've had a child with you. Goodbye.
I tell you what's hilarious, man, is like in like I don't know if it's John says X-Men number 1 or 100, whatever the numbering is on that one. But it's either that or one of the issues after it. Wolverine and them, or maybe it's I can't remember. I just remember that I think it's Stanley and Jack Kirby walking down the road when they see like Nightcrawler, or I think it's later than that. They see Nightcrawler and they're just like, back in our day, we didn't do any of that, did we, Jack? Or something like that, or something other. They're like grumbling about the shit, the way that it's written and what the characters are doing. They're like in the comic grumbling about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's hilarious.
Oh yeah, they would throw they did self-inserts all the time and they were usually pretty funny.
It's funny because they weren't writing the book.
This was another good horror episode for both this one and part 1 with the demon stalking them and trying to manipulate Storm. Again, that's a very, very long story arc that they just brushed through in 2 episodes, but for the most part they did it really, really well. They didn't shy away from making it pretty terrifying. That bird thing fucked me up. I didn't like it.
That was fucked up, dude. That was fucked up looking.
It reminded me of like a Studio Ghibli Hayao Miyazaki enemy.
Totally. Here's I have a weird phobia about whispering. I can't stand people whispering. It creeps me out. Yeah, don't fuck. I'll punch you in the fucking face. Stop it.
He just said he had a phobia, motherfucker.
Hey, the name's Darnell Quiggley. Remember it.
ASMR must be really hard for you to find.
You know what that bird thing reminded me of? My ex-wife.
Mine
We're
too.
not
Oh my
going
god.
there tonight, Diesel.
I thought it was awesome. They also had Allison Seeley
Actually,
Smith
that thing
voice
was
her.
less scary.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah, Gray's right.
She's gonna get a call here in a minute.
But
no, the hell I'm
kinda
not.
just
I don't have
so
it.
we can
I
get
have no
so we can
ties
get to the
that crap
finales.
anymore.
Wrap it. Does anybody have anything they'd like to say about that episode so we can just knock them out and get to the
I loved
good stuff?
I loved the creep factor. It was great.
There was like some jump scare to it too that I wasn't expecting. Like
when she was in the cave.
Yeah.
Like
I'm just
fuck
glad
that
she
thing
got
just
Man, I'm claustrophobic
creeping
as hell
crawling at her.
too, man. My brother used to roll me up in a rug and then tie a belt around it, and I couldn't move my arms. That's fucked up, man.
I'm just glad she got the other half of her hair back.
I like the Mohawk.
I've never hated punk rock Storm as long as she only had the punk rock costume, the 80s punk rock costume in one episode when she's sitting in the bar. When
that was
Ford
when
walks up.
when she had that when she was in charge of the Morlocks, man.
Yeah, it's the Callisto's vest.
She beat Callisto.
I appreciate what they did with this new season where they kind of like made it fit to where you see like different variations of the costumes and different characters as we've known them over the decades. They made it work, so you see different versions of them. The one of Jean Grey in the orange onesie with the hair, the mask up to the hair. That one's not my favorite, but they made it work.
It worked. That was old school Jean Grey. That was Stan Lee Jean Grey.
Marvel girl costume.
There's a question. There's a question
Stan
for
Lee Jean Grey.
Sorry, go ahead, Devil.
What do you think cosmetically on any of the characters bothered you the most that they changed?
No ass.
What do you mean?
They bring it back, man. I think it's like the last episode. There's a glory shot of Rogue.
Dude,
maybe Bo DeMeo had to negotiate the sex factor in the show. Yeah. It's like we'll give up Rogue's ass if we can have the original Storm costume, a pretty authentic Goblin Queen for a kids show. They did that really well.
don't
some
remember
of the
seeing
just
her
the
ass.
creepy Magneto dancing, almost making out on the dance floor scene. They put
I love
just
that.
enough adult factor in there.
Yeah.
And it only cost us Rogue's ass, but
I
think
the only
right?
cosmetic thing I'd change is maybe Jubilee's outfit. Like I know that's kind of hers from what is it, like Wolverine and Jubilee? I forget what their.
Are you talking about the black?
It's not my favorite
the black
costume.
jumpsuit?
Yeah.
That is from when she's in Generation X. So it's a callback to the old comics.
Yeah,
it's just
where
not my
they all
favorite
had
one.
black and yellow.
also
I don't
didn't
care
like-
if I like her traditional outfit the best, or one they do way later on. But that wouldn't make any. They'd have to change her look completely to a more mature look to even make that work.
I didn't like
Oh,
how
real-
they got rid of
Yo.
Bishop's Jerry curl too.
Jack got
One
a
Oh,
solo,
right?
you know.
Magneto and a Speedo.
Yeah.
Hey man, you're a poet. Didn't know it.
Jack's gotta go, guys.
No rouge
Jack-
ass. I don't
Okay,
want a red
Jack.
ass.
Thanks for. I know it's late over there, so thanks for at least stopping by and hanging out for a little bit. Any closing thoughts on the show before we say goodnight, sir?
I am very much looking forward to the second season. I hope it lives up to the first season at least. I hope it doesn't go off a cliff. There is nothing really more that I can add that you guys aren't going to add over the rest of the night. But I just, I really enjoyed the show, and it's something that finally I've been able to sort of sit down with my daughter and enjoy something together with her, and she's enjoying it too. And there's nothing in it that I wouldn't show to her either, given her age. And so yeah, it's just it's nice and refreshing to have something good and entertaining on the TV rather than all the usual intersectional bullshit.
Yep.
Or just the sort of, autism sort of spurg fest that you get on TV nowadays, where it's like bigger, better, faster now, and everything's like, changing scenes every fucking 5 seconds.
Don't you wish it was animated like Steven Universe?
No, you got a good point. Go figure. The thing that's most enjoyable for both kids and adults is a cartoon mainly targeted at supposed to be targeted at kids, and it's just surprising that something like this is that good.
Yeah, this is more of a teen show, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's not really for kids. It's more of a teen
Not
show.
for-
But I
I would
my
say
daughter's
10 and up.
7.
It's
My
for-
daughter's
it's for-
7,
it's for
so
us.
I have no problem showing her anything that's in this.
Mm-hmm.
I feel 100% this show is made for us. The ones who grew
More
up, who
de-
were
the kids that grew up on the show is
teenagers who grew up
definitely
on
the
the show.
target audience.
This is what I feel.
But I think Bo and Meg had it in mind for people like Jack to introduce
Yeah.
their kids
I've
into
already got my
something
son
that
watching
they
it.
loved as kids.
Yeah, I got my
because
8-year-old
that's what we
watching it right
used
now.
to do.
But anyway, I'm going to run. Have a good one. Thank you all for having me. It's good to see you all again, and I will see you all soon.
Later, brother.
Good night.
Later, man.
Take
Peace,
care.
Jack.
And everybody go subscribe to JackTarLad. I'll put his links in the chat.
Boy, I'm
but
glad
you
we got rid of
probably
that
already know
guy.
who he is.
Great, the Brits left. Now we can have seasoned food. I don't know.
All right.
Man, damn it,
Yeah.
Darnell, why you got to go be doing
It
different
is funny.
names
Every
and
time I stream with him, me
I
and
have no
Selena
control
end
over
up
that,
wanting
brother.
fish and chips afterwards.
I really do.
Hey, there is down
You
in
had fish and
Keys?
chips in Vegas?
Yeah.
down in Galveston.
Oh,
they're
yeah.
probably the best fish and chips I've ever had.
Yes, I
We
had
have
some
a thing-
fucking good stuff down in Galveston.
Damn,
We
living
have
in
a
your
place called
fancy
the Village
town.
Pub. They make really good.
Probably
fish
got a
and
Red Lobster there too.
Jess, did you have to
Not
go
alone.
too, or are
Cracker
you just
Barrel.
around a little longer?
Yeah, actually, I do have to run. I'm so sorry, but thank you
okay.
so
Oh,
much.
it's
for
all
Losing
right.
a
I
resident
love-
Jean Grey.
I love
Yes.
the show. I love talking about it. It's been so much fun, and thanks for including me, guys.
Yeah.
You go.
Oh yeah, sorry, we only got through half the topics, but
You go.
a lot of it.
Shit balls.
You go put that. You go put that adorable little one to bed, or
I gotta
she's
get
Yeah.
her in the tub and then bath
It's-
time, all the things. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hope she's
But
doing
I will-
better.
I will be in Vegas this weekend. So
Yeah.
Selena, we're gonna hook up some. We're gonna connect.
Really?
Get your mind out of the gutter.
Yeah, fish and chips.
Whoa!
Never went there. Never went there.
We didn't do it. You did it.
Oh, there you go, careless whisper.
Get your minds out of the gutter,
my
people. That's where my mind belongs.
my gosh.
Oh gosh, you guys are great. Love y'all. I'll,
Peace.
t-
See you,
I'll
Jess.
catch you
Later,
later.
Jill.
Bye.
Bye.
Love her. Go
All
subscribe
right.
to
We got
the
rid of
channel.
her.
She has a brand new
So
channel
everybody
as well.
watching, go subscribe to Moxie Game
Moxie
and
Game.
JackTarLad.
Wait, her
Follow them
new
on the
channel.
on the
she's
X and in the YouTube and
Yeah,
the
we'll
Rumble.
put the links in the
no, she's got another channel. It's like Sad But True or something. It's something like that. Sad State of Affairs, or it's something.
Is that a channel or just one of her
yeah,
shows?
she has a new.
on her
She has a
channel?
new. She has a new channel.
Yeah,
Oh, shit. Well, everybody subscribe to that. All right. Anybody else needing to bounce? It's more than okay.
I may have to
Might
step
even
away
have
to help
to-
put the kids to bed later, but I'm not leaving. I'm just gonna like walk away for a minute or two and come
Oh,
back.
for sure. Yeah, just
Oh,
turn off your camera and we'll pretend you're not there.
I'll let you know that
I got another half hour. So
Okay.
I've already
yeah,
called
we'll
out
kind-
sick
Oh,
for
yeah.
work, so
I
I'm
can,
good.
So
I can stay. I have no I have no I have
No responsibilities.
Spit it out.
Hey, I got an idea.
I got some
I got an idea.
responsibilities. I just have
Weasel.
nothing in my life. man,
These, I
so
got an
can-
idea.
Exact
Once
world.
everyone's got to go and they shut the show down, we can get Iron to give us the control of the channel, and we can stay on until like 6 in the morning.
Man, I remember when I used to like
all right.
that dude.
So yeah, he's kind of retarded, but I still
You
like
want
him
you
a lot.
want to know what the moment I lost all respect for him? The moment he went,
He was banging his
"Screw
head.
your freedom."
Exactly.
Oh, that's when
why
everyone
I
lost their
fuck-
respect
I'm
for him.
done with him. I'm
Yep.
done with him,
Yep.
dude. I used to, when my daughter was little, when she would go, it was bath time. When that last stitch of clothing came off, she was tired and ran away. And I used to chase her around the house. And my Arnold Schwarzenegger would get back, you little girl. You got to get in the tub, man. So I'd chase her. And I
put
used
the
to,
cookie down.
and I did it. I
It's
used
not
to
a tumor.
I used to do a spot on Schwarzenegger, but I won't relearn it because fuck him.
Yeah.
And but I used to do that all the time, and that was our little thing. She actually thought that when she first saw like an Arnold Schwarzenegger something that I was watching, she thought that, hey, it's the dude from like what's the one with Timmy and the two little fairies.
Fairly Odd Parents.
Fairly Odd
Yeah,
Parents.
yeah. What the one fairy dude that was like talk
yeah.
like that? Yeah, she thought it was that. Like, and that dude was like, that's how I'm just like, man, I'm really old because my child has no idea who Arnold Schwarzenegger is.
This is a reference.
Tried
not
to
the original
explain it
source.
to
It's
her.
funny.
It would just
Back to the
didn't-
episodes, guys, because there's a couple things I want to get to before Devil leaves. In
Yeah.
fact, we'll come back to the episodes. We're going to kind of do just a sidestep here, unless you did you want to talk about episodes or some individual topics about the show overall, Devil?
Let's do individual topics.
All right. So something we might as well get the elephant out of the room right away, and let's just talk about. Let me find my slide here.
You've
Let's
already
go
pulled
ahead
the
and talk
soul
about
out.
I knew it. I knew that. I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I knew
yeah.
it. So I will say,
I would
this
like to
is
start.
fucking annoying. Go ahead. Sorry. Yeah. Sorry.
So, all of the internet drama and buzz aside, none of it really leaked into the show. Was the character insinuated to be a certain way? We're gonna get right into that. Yes. Did that define the character? No. Did it bother me? Not at all. In fact, if this character was described as this back in the 90s when no one gave a fuck about any of this shit, it would have been fine.
Yep.
Especially if the character was well developed. This character has a backstory that goes back into the original show when he was possessed by Sinister. They even showcased that in this show.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to say about it is, if you're going to do a character that's like this, falls into one of these check boxes, if you do them right, nobody fucking cares.
Yeah.
And
I
more
completely agree.
And now, if anybody disagrees with me, that's fine. I want to hear everybody's thoughts.
overall, but Morphin's character, just in general, anyway, is kind of, I mean, is non-defined a little bit. So it kind of, it's fine. It's fine that a little bit if it kind of does. But I think what a lot of the hype around it that they were kind of talking is because of who the voice actor was for him. And I think they were trying to bleed in the voice actor being more involved specifically with Morph himself.
Yeah, he's one of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he was the voice of
he's a
Joker
picture.
in the.
Look at his picture.
He was the voice of the Joker for Suicide Squad kills the DC.
Oh, barf.
That's why they didn't bring the original voice actor back for Morph, who is still alive, and they actually got to voice somebody in the show that I found out from IMDb.
And they, that's what they did with Jubilee too.
That was actually the Jubilee thing was actually really cool, but
Harrison Ford got to come back though.
This is
Iron. I just sent you his IMDb. Morph's voice guy. Look at him.
Yeah, and he may be a little bit too old. I don't know, because I mean, let's be honest, Cal Dodd as Wolverine sounded like he was very old, and so did Rogue. And maybe that's what they wanted to do, because Morph by his very nature is a changeling. If he wants to sound younger, he can. And so I wasn't so much
I just remember
that
Morph's laugh.
Like Mystique, he can change himself on a molecular level. When he fully understands and grasps the extent of his power, he can replicate actual abilities.
Yep. So, we saw that multiple times in this. He was
his true form is just this weird tadpole looking thing that doesn't, you don't know if there's anything there or not.
Looks like Leech.
So
is a mannequin.
Kind of like he's like a fictional character that is neither one. Something that can exist in a make-believe world.
Yeah, and of all the people now, we all know why they made more of a they them. It was just for check.
But he wasn't. Did anyone call more? Call more?
Yes, actually, Storm did a couple times. Yeah, she called them.
It seems like it fits the character though.
Well, that's my point. We all
you had to do that.
But if you go back to the original airing of the show, they didn't call him that. They called him he.
Yeah, they did, and it was that is a little bit annoying that they had to that the creators had to insert their checkbox. Well, yeah, they did. It's one of those things you don't really even notice it until, because I noticed it because I was waiting. Like, what are they noticed? They've never mentioned his pronouns. Oh, there they go. But of all the characters to do this to, this makes sense. Now, if you're gonna make like Wolverine non-binary, Wolverine gay, which they
they have Wolverine reciprocate any of the feelings Morph has for him.
I don't think they're going to, but definitely making Morph gay for Wolverine. And it was clear as day. Like I didn't even know that that's where we're going, and I could sense it a mile away. It was clear as day. Some of like these long lingering looks that he had. Now that's annoying because I miss male friendships being depicted. They did it really well in the original series. You can't just have men be really, really good friends on screen anymore, especially if you work for Disney. They have one of them has to be gay for the other, and
they do the same thing with women too. That you can't have women just friends. The only difference is whenever it's two women, they automatically become lesbian lovers, like within one or two episodes of meeting each other.
I had no problem with it, but I mean maybe that's because I'm friends with Dermy, so I'm used to friends inappropriately of making advances towards you. But yeah, no, it didn't bother me.
Well, yeah. What bothers me is
that's a good point. Everybody's had or known somebody who has like a gay buddy that's like a little too has kind of that crush on him or something. It's
The only part that bothers me
is can hang out, but just stop.
Right.
Not after dark.
Is you mentioned it. If they make Wolverine reciprocate now. Release this show back in the late 90s, early 2000s, you wouldn't have there would be no question he's not going to reciprocate. My worry is that they're going to reciprocate it because of how entertainment is now.
Especially
and now
Disney
there's the total pressure of people that don't even watch the show. They just look for little things like that to attach themselves to.
Yeah.
Oh, look, and I'm binary. I'm finally represented.
Storyline.
Right. I'm finally represented of Rings of Power. Did you watch it? No.
So you were the orcs then. You were one of the orcs that was burned in sunlight. Okay. Yeah. Again, like what bothered me is just making him gay for Wolverine. That made me kind of irritated. Now, if you want to have him be non-binary, fine, because they also kind of did that storyline in Heroes, if we remember that. Sylar had the shape-shifting thing, and he had a few episodes where he was going through an identity crisis. Like, if I can be anybody, so who am I really? and he went through. He shapeshifted to a bunch of different characters. Some of them dead. Some of them, many of them. Some of them male and female. So to make so, I mean that, and I think that could be a really fun storyline to handle. But it needs to be baked into identity, not sexuality. But that's right. But unfortunately, Marvel and Disney especially are not attached to anything like that. They just want their non-binary checkbox.
For the one scene in the horror movie scene when everybody's getting fucked with in a Cronenberg movie, when he's making, he's joking about Wolverine in the shower.
Yeah.
It's obviously not Wolverine.
Doesn't seem like a joke.
That you're always joking. You think I don't know. You don't think we all know that. I thought it was like, oh shit, and he looked terrified.
Yeah.
And then when he turns into Sinister, the whole scene, at first I was like, I cringed because, I hadn't seen where the whole show was going to go after that. So it's like, is this where the show takes that nosedive? But it never did.
No, it didn't.
And the only other scene that they really showcased that was when he was trying to keep Wolverine alive.
Yeah.
And he says, Jean can't say it, so I will. One, is he doing that because he has feelings for him? Yeah, probably. But he's also doing that so that, just to keep the motherfucker alive. If he has to turn into Jean Grey, hold his hand and say, stay with me in her voice.
That's the kind of thing that's the kind of thing you need to do. You need to have it be subtle enough to where it's not in your face. It needs to be, well, it can have multiple different meanings, but that's the brilliance, I think, of this writing. There is space for there to be multiple meanings, multiple interpretations. You don't get that now. So we see every little scene because everything is just blatant in your face. Hey, I am the gay character, by the way. And so having that kind of subtlety, we can read into that. But that's, if you want to tie in those lines, fine, but at least tie them in cleverly to where they're not, it's not about, hey, I'm gay. I could be gay, but I'm adding to something else.
No, because it's still questioning, like the whole Sabretooth thing. Like, is that because he wants to train with him, or I don't know. Like, I think they did it somewhat tastefully, but it also kind of mirrors, Logan's pining for Jean Grey as well. Like, I don't know.
I don't know.
It doesn't bug me.
I thought that part was more egregious, just because. I mean, even if I'm on death's door, I don't want one of my friends putting on a fucking wig and a dress and fucking coming after like they're my girlfriend, right?
He's actually becoming the love of your life, and telling you,
No, he's definitely not.
I agree with all those points until Bodemeo tweeted that yes, Morpheus is gay. When he said that, it took all.
But which is he? Is he gay or is he non-binary? Is he a shapeshifter that doesn't have an?
Is it gay if you can actually become a woman? I don't know.
That would be an interesting question to ask. But yeah, because I didn't even know Bodemeo had confirmed it until after that episode came. And I'm like, oh, because I watched that scene where it's like Jean won't say it, so I will. Like, oh, come on.
So that scene was more ick than anything else. That one,
I'll dress up like
okay.
Jean for
Imagine
you.
Iron sitting in the freaking hospital, and the doctor's all like, "God, I hope we're trying to get a hold of Selena. We got to get her here quick because he might, And one of you guys say, "Don't worry, we got this covered." And he wakes up for a second.
Door, you better put on a wig, you motherfuckers.
You're holding his hand. You're holding his hand, and he comes out of whatever he's in, and he looks over, and there's RedStrider in a bleach blonde wig.
I would actually find that hilarious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey, just call me cross-dressing Patch Adams.
I'd fall out of the bed.
It's like, oh god, get me out of this bed. Get me out of here.
How much did I drink last night? This is not what you look like.
Really different.
Did you guys ever see that
Selena,
video?
when did you get a beard?
I don't want to stray too far off the topic, but there's a video of this guy fucking with his friend who was in a car accident, and they go in, and he's just waking up after, he wasn't even put in a coma or like a medical. It wasn't that serious, but he was out while they treated him. And they come in with an old lady pretending to be his wife to make him think that he had been in a coma for years.
Oh God!
Your parents' funeral was beautiful. They talked about you the whole time. And
well, no, I this on the same vein. I had a coworker who had to be put into a medical coma because he had to go on a ventilator because of double pneumonia.
Mm.
So I mean, he was medically in a coma for a while, and I'm the kind of asshole that would go 28 days later on him and get everything to make it look like so that when they woke him up, he would think the world had ended while he was out.
Oh, that would have been great.
I told him later, he's like, well, I'm glad you did.
A short amount of time, you guys better do something like that for me.
I got put in a medically induced coma.
I wish you'd have known you back then, Diesel. We'd have fucked with you so hard.
I was. They did that. Yeah, man, that was.
Dragon had Polaroids.
So overall, just with Morph, what's everybody's take? Was the character completely unnecessary? Was the changes too much to handle? Or were you just fine with it and thought that they actually, if you're going to do a character, that's the way to like this, that's the way to do it?
Love the
I think
character.
the last
I
one,
can ignore it.
If you're going to do
He's
it,
great.
it's that character.
Yes.
Yeah.
I thought the fact that he's just a cameo factory is just amazing.
Yeah.
I had no problem with it. And I still, if they just stay on the track where, this is real life. Sometimes people have feelings for people they can never actually be with, and they just have to settle with being friend zoned. That's fine. Everybody's been there.
Friends. I'd rather be enemies.
I think it was fine. DeMeo did not have to tweet that he was gay.
Yeah.
I think it was fine before that.
There's always more drama and not knowing
about this show. Was
they always think that they have to cater to an audience that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
The Twitter fandom that gets obsessed with this bullshit, they don't watch the fucking show. But at least they did the character so well that it doesn't really it doesn't matter. In fact, I thought Morph was I enjoyed his character. I thought he was a really good addition to the cartoon, especially considering the history. It would have been weird to not have him if this is a continuation of the original series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But since we're talking about him, that goes right into one of the last separate topics I'd like to get to before Devil leaves, the message. I was going to have a drinker slide on here, but I didn't have time to put one up. But it was there. It was in sprinkles. It wasn't heavy handed, but there were definitely there was definitely there. What are some of the things you guys noticed?
I'll say it right off the bat. I hated how they kept referring to Storm multiple times as a goddess. It was kind of getting annoying. She's the closest thing we'll have to a goddess. Oh, she's a goddess. I was all like, God, get over it.
They drug that into the ground. It's like they should have just said yes, queen at some point. I agree. They did Storm Justice as a character, but that got fucking annoying.
Well, also she was the one in that whole
Forge and fucking Magneto doing it most of the time. Oh, and Professor X, if I'm not wrong.
A little bit, yeah. And also, I think Anna, that Star Wars girl, was made the point that having Storm be the one in that council chamber, which that was kind of my thing, where it's like the message is loud and clear, where she's telling them all to be silent and shut up. It was almost like, be quiet, black woman speaking. But I think even though. But
are you talking about in the at the court at the trial scene?
Yeah, and I was like, I can see that.
That was her character right out of the comic.
No, it definitely is. She is very dramatic. She is very like, storms come, winds come to me, obey my command.
You will be silent now and do as I say.
That was actually kind of but that was one of those things where my whole point is it was one of those things I would probably have just thought, oh, that's a fun Storm moment. Then the end of that Star Wars girl was saying, it's like I am black woman, let me speak.
Yeah.
And then I was kind of like, oh, okay, I can see that.
It's actually sad because that does fit her character. That's something out of the comic book. But again, this is just current day fucking ruining everything. Even when it's good, it still gets ruined by all the shit that
they can't
just
take the inch, they take the mile, and it fucks everything up.
Well,
I was expecting Magneto to come out and all of a sudden go, black girl magic.
I mean, here's the thing. Here's why that's funny, because that line was spoken in a Marvel production.
And talk about a character out of all the characters that they did so well and got so much development and time. Fucking Bishop, who I was excited to see in the opening credits,
He's
He
barely in it.
fucked off
Barely in
after 3 episodes. What was
Yeah.
that?
They
I
probably
think
Well,
they're
he
did
was
gonna
barely
heavily
in
feature in
those.
season 2.
Yeah, I think
think
he's
he's gonna
definitely
feature.
going to have a bigger role next season. That's
'Cause
good.
he
I've
time
always
travels a
Bishop's
lot.
been one of my favorite characters since that original comic run in the 90s when that big
I
X-Men
like the update to his
resurgence
look,
happened.
man.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
haircut suits him.
I'm glad the mullet's gone.
They need to bring back the Jerry curl. What
Or
are you
is that
talking
called
about?
a
I wanted
Jerry
Soul
curl?
Glow. Yeah, I wanted Soul Glow. You know, like I wanted just that long locks.
Yeah. Yeah, unfortunately Bishop is kind of barely in this, but he's definitely I think you're right, Iron. He is definitely going to be feature heavily in season 2 because I mean, not to get too far ahead, but different time periods certainly make an appearance. And so I
And-
think he's definitely going to be a factor
Him and
into
Cable.
getting them back.
They're
to
going to
their
have to
time.
address. He starts having the same problems if you've seen the movie Butterfly Effect, where he has too many memories from too many timelines.
Well,
It starts making him go crazy and he gets sick.
I think
And
Cable's
that's
gonna have that
that's what
storyline
they're
because
really going to have to touch
because-
on. It doesn't affect Cable because he has his psych. He's
true, true, but
he's able to maintain it. He doesn't have any problem.
true, but he's also has a
Bishop
techno-organic
does.
virus in him too. And you saw when Gene asked him, "How many of these have you done?" 200. He seemed to lose his cool.
Yeah,
that's why I was like, "Oh, he's losing his shit. He's gonna start losing his mind."
Could
next
be.
season.
I hope that'd be really cool. Cable's a pretty fun character. to have
Bishop's
him
gonna
be.
keep his shit together, and Cable's gonna be the one to lose his shit.
Cable's fucking great.
Yeah,
he is. It sounds like Josh Brolin.
Yeah,
he does sound like Josh
Brolin's
Brolin. Yeah,
Cable was fine. I'm still on the. I would have liked to have seen the guy from Avatar and Don't Breathe.
Oh, Stephen Lang.
Yeah, I still would have been a better pick, but Josh Brolin.
Yeah,
did
that
fine.
guy looks. Yeah, that dude
He's old,
looks
though.
like
He could've
Cable
done- he
in
could've done the
Avatar with the
physical shit.
fucking.
Yeah, but he's
scar
a
on his
fucking ripped old dude.
Yeah,
which is.
But how fucked
mean,
up is his body? I mean,
Basically,
can he
if
do
they
this?
made X-Men movies in the early '90s, or even the late '90s, it would have been Clint Eastwood playing Cable all the way.
sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Clint Eastwood's a bit too thin to be Cable.
No,
Cable's
He's also like too old.
Cable is
1996
jacked and roided as hell, man.
Well,
Cable
that's
is a
because of
beast.
who the artist that created him. He can't draw fucking.
Rob Liefeld?
Yeah,
Rob Liefeld.
Yeah.
Rob Liefeld created
He
Cable.
puts muscles on top of muscles
And
that don't exist.
I am not a Rob.
Yeah,
I'm
they're
not a
iconic.
Rob Liefeld hater. I love. He's one of my favorite creators. He patches on
So
patches
you don't have a
on
thing for
muscles.
feet?
And no feet.
That Captain America is hilarious. Did you see that
Yeah.
one? Did you see the one? It was on Friday Night Tights. It's one of the Legion of members or somebody put fucking like they put what's the dude that plays Captain America?
Chris Evans.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, they put his head on Rob or get on, and made his body look like Rob Liefeld's Captain America. It was
I
ridiculous.
just realized I haven't worn this the whole.
Like a little head, and he's like fucking Rob.
Oh,
Liefeld.
yeah.
Man, I need
Started
that.
out good.
Speaking of
It's
Captain
really
America,
echoey,
now I
you
know
know.
exactly why he was now I know why DeMeo was fired. Because
Why is
the
that?
appearance of Captain America, he was white. And their new
Oh,
Captain America's black.
Well, and that was another.
Yeah, I
thing
don't know
that
if you're taking the shit or if you're actually serious.
he's taking the shit.
Both of them
50-50.
could be true. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
To be honest, though, that
He's
was one of
taking a
the things
serious
she
shit.
said that I liked. Like, you have to weed through all the bullshit this guy says, and then you find some little golden nuggets. He said he wanted to be true to the entire '90s Marvel animated universe.
Yeah.
So if you saw
Yeah, they paid off
Fantastic
Spider-Man.
Four, Daredevil,
Yeah.
Spider-Man, they would be depicted exactly as they were in those shows that ran at the same time, and they did that perfectly.
But
Yeah.
being that it's a Marvel product of right now, they're going to want their current day characters being
And
represented
I
in the
think that's
show.
where the conflict, and that's why I'm going to start the actual change.org tonight to get this fucker back. And I hope I don't
Hopefully
regret
do it.
this by finding out, well, he, you know,
Put the disclaimer. No, all you got to do is just at the bottom, make sure you put the disclaimer. Based on our current information and knowledge of what is going on,
write that
This
out
is
for
why
me.
we're
I'm
doing
retarded. Help me.
No, you're just
Private
gonna
chat.
you're gonna find it tomorrow, and it's gonna say that it was put up by Diesel.
You don't even know what the hell's
I'll
going on
sign it
right
too,
now.
man. If you're going down, I'll go down with you.
So,
Nah, man, we done went off on
here's
in the DM group. We done went off on a fucking tangent, man.
But Iron,
one of many tangents. Now, here's one of the first instance of the message that I got that made me just recoil and roll my eyes, and I really didn't know what direction the show was going to go. And this is in one of my favorite episodes now, and that's the Trial of Magneto.
I know you're going with this.
Also, one of my favorite comic runs to see him really give it the old college try at being a hero to honor Xavier's wishes. Now, it was cut whenever they would cut to the news while the executioner and the Friends of Humanity are, storming the trial. They keep calling it the insurrection.
Yeah.
They say that at least 3 times, and that was just. It's like, oh, do we have to? I don't want to even think about anything current day politics.
I didn't even hear that. I must have not even been paying attention.
It was there,
It was
bright.
barely there.
Did
it
they call
was just
Magneto
there
a
to give
fascist? Because
retards a reason to take it.
I think they did call Magneto a fascist. I'm pretty sure they did.
I'm almost like made that entire word, like when people say it, it's like it's muted to me because
it's like other words
say
that
it,
are-
it's like, and I'm just like, I didn't hear a thing.
Insurrection, democracy, all those words are just so dumb. now. I
Oh
never wanna
God!
hear
Get
them
your
again.
the judges.
Get your played out bullshit out of here. Your fucking newspeak ain't working. Your words have no meaning. You've been calling us fascists for 4 years.
I feel like
Sorry.
Charlie Brown when that stuff happens, when he's hearing his parents.
But here's the thing: while it was there, they could have gone a lot harder and drove it in. They just chose to use that buzzword a couple times.
Yeah,
it was highly cringe.
He didn't
it was
put the
definitely
message
intentional.
in there. He didn't put the message in there enough. That's why he can't shit can him.
Probably.
Did they
My
have
heel, I'm a down.
character depiction of like Trump or this or that? No, and we've seen that in other shit.
Well,
I did
can I
notice-
ask you? So if that one was kind of
Magneto
subtle,
has the very best.
what about Life Death Part 2? Like the whole colonizer thing, like the whole.
This is what I want to hear
Shi'ar.
because I may have messed a few things. So
No,
please
they have a
go ahead
Storm
and
and Forge have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
It's just the whole Shi'ar Empire is called colonizers, and they use I forget the horse people's race, but they're basically using them as their servants, and Xavier calls them out and actually calls them colonizers, and I can't remember exactly what he says to.
See,
Is it
my
like
problem with up
Centurion?
until the end, and I kind of checked out. That was one of my least favorite episodes.
Well, like,
Yeah,
correct me
I
if I'm
think
wrong,
that was
doesn't-
my least favorite.
Didn't catch
Isn't
it. I
Xavier
was
like that in the
watching.
old show too? I want to say
Yeah.
he was just like that back then, so it's not out of his character.
No,
it's not out of his character. It just that was the only time where I was like, it's a little heavy-handed, but it felt like the old
using
show,
that
which was a
specific
little
word,
heavy-handed.
Well, that's what I'm
you could-
saying,
you could-
because it was like that before. It didn't sit with me till you said something. It didn't like go off till you said something.
All right. Well, Devil,
Devil's gotta go.
yeah, dude, thank you so much for stopping by. Sorry we couldn't get to more of the.
No.
Let's do part 2.
Yeah, we could totally do part 2. We could talk about the show forever.
Yeah, it was great being on, great talking about a show that was actually good and I actually enjoyed. And I'm looking forward to next season because you could see it in the end that they were hinting at a lot of different stuff. You have Onslaught. There was a lot of stuff they were hinting at. So I'm if you do a second one of these episodes, I'll definitely be on too, and I will talk to you guys later.
Later,
Bye.
Devil.
All right, man.
Take it easy, Devil.
All right. Well, we've covered a lot of it. I'm not going to get back into the episodes so we can actually do a part 2 because I don't want to not do them justice. I want to even go back and talk about some of the ones we missed before everybody's favorite episode.
Yeah.
Oh, my favorite episode, hands down, the Motendo.
Motendo was fun.
That was a good.
That
one.
was
It was a
fun
filler
one.
episode, but it was a
filler, but it was fun. And
Yeah.
at least it was a Jubilee centric episode that they gave her a show.
Oh,
Yep.
I liked it a lot more than Life Death Part 2.
And
Yes.
they actually
Agreed.
did they did a lot of justice with Jubilee, because if you're a fan of the comics and you know how powerful she can actually become, she's not no mega level mutant by any means, but she's not a wuss either. She's trained by Wolverine. Her powers are actually pretty effective when she knows how to use them.
Yeah.
And this
Well, when you see
version
what
is
Abscissa
just,
can do, like-
she's a kid. She's just coming into her powers. So seeing that older version of herself and everything she's capable of was cool. And
because
they also did her justice at the end when she gave Magneto a good old what for.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And with that episode that focused on her, it was supposed to be, it's as stated, her 18th birthday. So she's still coming into her powers. She still doesn't have the full control of them. She doesn't know what her capabilities are, and it's good that she does run across her older self.
Yeah, that was
For
kind
sure.
of cool.
It foreshadows the Shuriken.
I will admit, her voice actress didn't really land with me.
No, I want the old one.
Yeah, she
you got her. She played Abscissa.
She seemed like she was doing. There are some actors that do a character so well that it doesn't sound like they're doing a character. She sounded like she was doing a character. She wasn't really as involved with it. Like the former Jubilee voice actress wasn't perfect either. Maybe I don't know, just the kind of some of her line delivery was like, I'm definitely watching a kid's show.
Well,
X-Ray
that's
Girl
kind of
was
how
one
she
of
always
those.
was.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's my
20
point. Like
lines.
her, even in her original animated version, I'm not really a fan of, because even though she's voiced by the clown from the Big Comfy Couch, she's not great. She's
Does it
not
at all
great.
like? Does it change your opinion that Allison Court, the original one, coached the new one on how to deliver the lines and everything, how to be Jubilee? Perhaps that's why the poor performance is there.
Probably, yeah. I love that that's the case, though. I really love that that's the case, and they actually give the original voice actress a moment in a very significant moment in Jubilee's episode.
Yeah.
I kind of love that. I don't.
It's awesome that she's Abscissa. That's
Absolutely,
really
yeah.
cool.
They could have just like booted her and said, "No, we recast her as we kind of made her a little bit more Asian, like she's supposed to
Well,
be."
she didn't
and
want to
cast an Asian
return.
voice actress. She didn't want to return. Oh no,
she chose not to.
Okay,
It was
because she wanted.
representation.
She's on the
She-
show.
Yeah,
She just
Not
chose not to
cool
voice
to
Jubilee.
do that.
I don't think whenever an actor says, "Oh, I chose to step away from one of my most iconic roles ever
bullshit.
to make room for because this
next
character
Oh,
is
wait.
a different race than me, and because I'm white, it actually matters." It doesn't matter
Man,
if
it's a trend
uh,
right now
really
in voice
black
acting
dude's
that
doing
you
the
can't-
Joker. He was one of the best Jokers we ever had.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
it's just a trend, man. Like it's offensive now if you voice a different race. They almost all
Well,
the Simpsons
only-
characters have been kind of.
it only goes one direction. It only goes one direction if you're
Yep.
voicing another race.
Yeah.
No,
You think anybody would care if they cast a black dude with a really perfect Charles Xavier voice to voice Charles Xavier?
Not
Nobody.
at all.
Hey,
Did
here's the
anyone care that
thing,
Michael Clark
even the
Duncan was
fans don't
Kingpin?
care. It's voice
No,
acting.
Michael Clark Duncan was awesome, man.
Oh yeah, Michael Clark is Kingpin.
Kingpin, yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah, he's my favorite depiction of Kingpin on the lot.
He
D'Onofrio's
was
fine.
intimidating. He was
But yeah.
huge. That motherfucker was huge.
Other than it just looked like they took the comic book and they just did a negative colorization.
Photo
That's it.
negative.
Otherwise, yeah, it was a photo negative version of Kingpin. He looked like Kingpin. He acted like Kingpin.
and he sounded like Kingpin
Yeah.
should sound like.
Yeah.
There was a dub of like the Spider-Man animated series, and the guy who did Kingpin kept talking about eating Spider-Man. It was funny as shit.
Okay.
Well, like think about some of the most iconic voice actors. Keith David,
Yeah.
huge, is like absolute
Spawn,
legend.
He does Goliath, and he's
the Arbiter,
a lot of random characters here and there.
Yeah, like he's pretty
right
much
up
voice
there with
acting
the
royalty.
guy, the guy who does Mr. Krabs, who's an icon.
Clancy Brown.
Yeah, Clancy Brown.
Clancy
It
Brown.
blew my mind the day I found out that he did Mr. Krabs and Lex Luthor. I was like, holy shit, these fucking universe just
Oh,
combined-
and countless
collided.
others. I think he's
The Kurgan.
he may even be in this show. I'm not sure.
Probably
Nope.
is. He's
Oh,
in
he's
everything.
been in a ton of stuff, man.
that was another thing. I didn't know what to do with myself after this show ended. I had to go find another cartoon, so I started watching Invincible. I finally finished season 2 of that. I really enjoy that so far. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I watched that too.
I'm kind of sad they're not going to tackle that.
I just can't wait till they get rid of Amber.
Oh
I
God!
fucking
Yeah.
hate that
Oh
bitch.
God!
I cannot
Yeah,
wait. I'm kind of upset they're not going to tackle that storyline with the female Viltrumite and Mark.
You don't think they will?
No, they're not. They're not. They straight. Kripke straight up said they're not doing it.
Oh, pussies!
They're not doing it.
I mean, she's there, but they're not going to go as far as they did in the comics.
Right.
And
right.
you'll get there soon.
So, speaking of Iron, do you have a? We haven't really talked about Sunspot yet.
Oh,
his race change.
Not even close.
Is that on your list?
Yeah, I got a lot of stuff on the list.
I'll hold off then.
So, I think the last thing I want the final episodes, and we're gonna go back and do some more, but we'll go ahead since we talked about the Gambit episode. The next best episode was the last two, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we can just briefly touch on those. My favorite part is getting to see those classic costumes. I'm agreeing with Jess. The Marvel Girl one was a little goofy, but they did it well.
It's a goofy design. It's that's Stan Lee's design from way back in the day, man. And it is goofy. Stan Lee's original, all their designs are goofies. The Cyclops thing where it was like he had the whole head cover and the eyes.
Yeah.
It looked goofy as shit.
Honestly, I love Cyclops.
I love Cyclops costume.
My all-time favorite though is this Wolverine costume right here.
Yep.
Yes.
That's
I
actually
cannot stand the blue and yellow with the
he's
tiger
in the
stripes.
he's in the NES game in that costume, the one where like your power-ups are
Oh, yeah.
burgers and beers.
The brown and yellow that's my all-time favorite design. And I hope
I
they
kind of
do
wish
more
they
of
would
that.
actually have done that with Deadpool. He had been wearing that.
Yeah, same. I was hoping that was the costume they would go with. Since they kind of teased it in the Wolverine.
Yeah, they did. I remember that. I got really excited.
Yeah.
Oh!
And then Fatal Attraction.
Oh.
Who here's read that comic run?
I have
where this
not
actually
This
happened?
hurt me.
Have not.
They did the sound effect too.
Mm-hmm.
They did the fucking sound effect.
Oh yeah. And I mean, it looked other than
an
he's
awesome
in
comic run.
he's in a different costume for this scene than the actual comics. He's wearing the classic suit.
Yeah.
But oh man. And where they could go with that. I see you have the feral Wolverine there. I hope they don't. I hope they just brush over that.
Yeah.
I don't want to see him without a nose acting like a retard.
You don't want to see this
Make
guy
him a little
again?
bit- No,
good
I can't.
Lord,
I
what
hate
is
that
that?
design with
This is-
everything.
This
in
is
my
a feral
body.
Wolverine, the Onslaught version that came with
Yeah.
He looks like a pirate.
He's got
Yeah.
no nose. He turns like completely feral.
Wow.
Yeah, he
Bone claws.
basically the only reason he hasn't looked like that, they explain it in the comics, is because of the adamantium. It's basically retarding
He's healing
his
all the time.
healing ability.
Yeah.
It's constantly trying to kill him. He has a toxic metal grafted to his skin. The weight of it, everything else, it's constantly he's constantly in healing overdrive. Once it's ripped out of him, he's actually way more powerful, but then at a cost of his intellect. He starts becoming more animalistic. That's why the nose just turns into two holes in his face.
Yeah. He starts to mutate.
And he can literally recover. He's almost as adaptable as Deadpool when it comes to the healing.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, he could be ripped in half and put himself back together.
Awesome.
But
Just not the
I don't
nose
like the way
part.
it looks, so I don't want it.
Yeah.
But it's really awesome. We kind of talked about it before. They're using a bunch of like modern cinematic technique to kind of get to that big like full page spread that they're doing. Like they obviously are doing the exact page from this. They've done that a bunch of different times, but the way that they get there is just so amazing. I just really love the animation on this. I hope it didn't seem like I didn't earlier. Just it felt like it took a while for me to get into it. I wasn't sure if I changed or if it did.
Hey, Arnie.
You muted.
You want to show us this video too and just continue ripping my heart out? I mean, you already fucking destroyed it.
I'll save that for next. We'll do a deep dive into this episode next time.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
We're gonna
we'll
prolong
in
the
fact,
suffering.
we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up here. This is a good stopping point, and we've got enough for another 2 hours, either next week or whenever everybody's available, and we'll wrap it up. So let's go around the horn and say goodbye and get to having dinner.
I'm going to bed after this.
So, Drunken, what do you got coming up the rest of the week, man?
Nice long 4-day weekend. Probably do some streaming. And then continuing to work on the background to getting things done to start doing some videos.
I know how time consuming that can be. I've still not done a video. I've tried multiple times.
It's nailing down that first topic to actually know, to talk about specifically, because there's just so many little things going on to nail down what the first one is. It's going to still be, that's not like going to, that's maybe popular right now, that won't die off immediately. So that it gives me time to do the editing and everything and then get it out in a timely manner.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and you have to be quick. Otherwise, like with me, with the editing and trying to make the video perfect, by the time I think I'm almost ready to, put it on the channel, the topic's dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And that's what I'm kind of facing right now. So it's what's kind of causing the delay. So it's just kind of watching and seeing as soon as that topic comes up, but getting everything else in order and stuff like that. So when it actually hits, I'm ready to go.
Yes.
Well, I know the struggle, man. Darnell, you got anything coming up this week?
Maybe the Rogues tomorrow night, depending if there's rumor if I got time.
I'm gonna post. Tomorrow's topic's gonna be a little bit of a sensitive subject, so it's gonna really depend on who wants to talk about it and who has any not
next to me, like very closely. I'm very close to that topic.
All right,
but
I'll get you down.
Well, if I got time, if I got time, to work on the music and that thing I mentioned to you guys in the group earlier this week.
Yeah,
I'm fleshing that out. Or last week, what it was. I'm working on. I'm gonna have to essentially run it, but I'll be like, it'll be very user controlled, not like overseen, like user controlled, but we're under one umbrella. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I like how Friday Night Tights does with all the neurotic shit.
Gotcha.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing up to.
Yeah. Diesel, you got anything coming up this week?
Yeah, Rogues Gallery tomorrow.
Okay, cool. We're also going to be working on our sci-fi channel. I want to get that locked down, but I want to get at least 2 more shows. That's one of them rolled out by the end of the month. So we need to get on it. And Selena.
Hi. I'm sorry, I'm dealing with the dogs always. Anytime I have to talk. I'm gonna try to make the Rogues Gallery tomorrow. Pretty upset about the topic, so yeah, I'm gonna be there for sure.
Okay. Strider.
I can guess what the topic is going to be tomorrow, which is unfortunate because your cosplayer representation can't be there. But I'll be on the road to Dallas, hanging out with my family. So,
well, have a safe trip.
Yeah, appreciate it. That's going to be fun. And I've got an X-Men 97 video that I actually recorded last week, but we got knocked out. But the power got knocked out, so and I just got it back yesterday, so I couldn't upload it until today when I got home. So I'm finally gonna. But we have to talk about this. I had to delay it, so I'm gonna be posting it here in just a minute. But yeah, I really enjoyed the show. Really, absolutely loved it. If we get more of this same old, great. If not, we get one really awesome season. But yeah, just from that, I'm going to start getting into more, making more videos now that life is kind of calming down, but it's going to be good.
Right on.
You say that, but hurricane season's right around the corner, brother.
I'm used to tornado season in Oklahoma, so this is nothing to me. Yeah.
We have a bad few months. You mean Diesel, man.
Yeah. It's like hurricanes you can prepare for. Tornadoes kind of come out of nowhere.
And now I just want to point out that the final person I'm going to address, his little bouncing avatar keeps blinking.
I
and
know,
it's-
man. It's hilarious. And then like he added some Jack dude to the rest of Jack.
Bo DeMayo.
That's Bo DeMayo.
Bo DeMayo.
The whole time.
Anyone ever
Diesel,
anyone
that's the guy that runs the
noticing
X-Men
it's
show.
That's
mayo
our
and
king.
mustard? Mayo and mustard? Anybody?
That's the guy they
Yeah.
fired.
Oh my
Yeah,
god,
yeah,
I didn't even think of that.
Thank you, Selena.
Diesel, that's the guy that
love
got fired from the X-Men show. The who was running the show.
Oh.
Man, why are gay
Well, I got a new
dudes always-
graphic I got to come
Wow,
up with right
dude.
now. Thank you, Strider.
Why are gay people
Oh,
wet?
Always
That,
ripped.
that makes sense.
They like to work out.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you know,
Have you
I
seen
can
that
see
about-
why
Well,
you'd like
most
the
of
X-Men.
them, most of them that I've ever come across are a bunch of overweight. Like they are. You could describe
God.
them as no.
Uh-oh.
They
So
are.
great.
They are shapes.
Gray, what are you
They are
doing?
indeed shapes.
All right. Yeah, Gray, what do you got going on for the rest of the week, man?
Yeah. So I should have some videos coming out soon. My kind of flagship show, just be honest, should be coming back, I think, next week. So that should be fun. I'm apparently defending the indefensible and trying to defend the show Velma. So yeah, good luck with that.
No.
Yeah,
good luck.
yeah. Other than that, check out That Darn Kidda's channel every Thursday for the thinkers.
All right. And again, everybody on the panel is welcome back. I'll put it in the chat so we can work out a new time for the follow-up to this. I had a lot of fun. Again, tomorrow night's Rogues Gallery. It's not going to be a fun episode. It's going to be very depressing, but
Important, very important.
gotta just talk about it. And pray for the best for everybody involved. It is not going to be a told you so or shitting on or anything else, but we'll go from there. I know, there's been a lot of just that aside, just there's been a following out, not just with the people who we're talking about streams with, but also with his fan base, myself included, and kind of left a bad taste in our mouth, like, kind of discarded. But nobody would have wished this in a million years. And well,
We'll talk about it tomorrow.
that's a topic for another time. Anyway, X-Men was fucking awesome. We're going to continue the discussion. I think there was a lot of good opinions. We got to hear some things that were I didn't even notice that there is, even when something's as good as this, there's always room for critique. So anyway, I don't have an outro, so we're just going to hard out and see everybody hopefully tomorrow. And I'll post when we're going to do the follow-up later. Good night, everybody.
Remember it.
Laters.